going on, man?
Dude, our intro is great. It reminds me of some of the great intros of like television shows of the 80s, like Tales from the Dark Side
Yeah,
and
dude. I like that synth.
yeah,
It was free. It was
Monsters.
all free. All that was free. Well, I shouldn't say completely free, but so,
I remember when USA Network on Saturday nights had like their horror marathon movies.
oh yeah,
They had like their Saturday night horror intro. Fuck, man, I love intros, man.
me too. They used to scare the shit out of me.
Oh, yeah, man. They got like cool, like dark ass melody.
Yeah,
You're a little kid. You're like, man, something bad's gonna happen. I just feel it.
like the intro to like the Hitchhiker and like shit like that. Like I'd have to like hide in the next room.
Oh man, that show was crazy.
It was.
There was way too much sex in that show for me to be watching that shit when I was
Yeah,
a
I
kid.
wasn't. Yeah, I had to sneak that one
Yeah.
when my
I-
parents weren't keeping an eye on me. But all right, well, we're down a man tonight, Mr. Paul. If you're out there, we miss you, and we hope you can join us again soon.
yes, sir.
Um, but I think we were talking about maybe doing a little spotlight chat on just generally like 80's horror, just like going year to year and just talking about some of like our favorites and some of the more notable horror movies that came out each year.
And maybe some shit that neither of us have seen.
Yeah, and there's a lot that I haven't seen.
I feel like
I'll
too.
freely admit. I mean, because there was just so many movies coming out in that decade. Like it's crazy, you know. You don't get that many releases, well, especially now post COVID. But like just how many movies that were getting cranked out was just like insane.
When VCRs became accessible in like 85, 86, that's when I think just the movies and the horror just in general just took off.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
You could go to the 99-cent store, the dollar store, the video store, and just get brand new things. They're just going straight to the VHS, man. And goddamn, man, it was such an awesome experience to just be watching something brand new. And whether it sucked or whether it was cool, you were just into it because it was something fresh that you hadn't seen yet.
All right. Yep. Yeah. Like the chances of going home with a classic was just as great as going home with a movie that was a complete dud. You had no idea.
Yeah.
You're just looking at the VHS box and whatever looks cool. You're taking that home for the weekend.
I mean,
Sometimes you lucked out, sometimes you didn't.
sure. I mean, and then something you would discover. For example, I discovered the Toxic Avenger
Hmm.
by doing a cold pickup just because of the cover. Blood Diner, in
Blood Diner. Yep.
1887 Blood Diner. So there was like some movies in there that were way under the radar, but were genre classics that had cult followings.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna pull up the ever reliable source that is Wikipedia. Because you can't just jump in here and add things to Wikipedia and create famous cryptid monsters and stuff like that. Everything on Wikipedia is 100% truth, factual. Anyway,
That's true. They fact check everything?
no, well, anyone can jump on here and edit
Oh,
articles.
okay.
I used to do them all the time. I used to do it all the time for fun. Just kind of add my own 2 cents to things. So no, it's not reliable at all.
Oh, okay. It's like
I guess
IMDb.
right. So, so we're starting here. This is 1980, and
I was 4 years old.
I was one, and yeah. So right off the bat, the first couple couple movies up here, like Alien Dead. I have never seen this movie.
I have not seen Alien Dead.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of that. But Alligator. Now, Alligator, um, is awesome.
Yeah,
Alligator, I know, like, we don't consider Jaws, me and you don't consider Jaws a horror movie. A lot of times I feel like we're in a minority when it comes to that. Um, but those that do consider it a horror movie consider Jaws like the greatest, like that subgenre of horror of animals attack,
sure.
you know. But Alligator um, is up there for me. Is probably one of the best in that subgenre. Um, that's it's a fun campy movie, but
But it's the
you know,
tone, that
yeah,
the score in the middle of the film doesn't switch to an action adventure score, like Jaws does. It stays in its lane. It knows where it's at.
right,
And that's not to say that Jaws, that diminishes Jaws because it veers into these other lanes. I just feel that because Jaws does that, it doesn't really make it a horror film.
yeah,
It has horrific moments, but I think,
no, yeah, exactly. Like
adventure thriller. I mean, I don't know.
adventure thriller, yeah, yeah, for sure. We've talked about that like so many different times. I mean, it's an uplifting movie, you know.
I mean, I know the Kessler boy and his family would disagree with us about it
Right,
not being a
yeah,
horror movie.
or that guy whose head pops out of the boat with one of his eyes missing. That is one of the greatest jump scares of all time,
Oh yeah.
But anyways,
But we
but
were
anyway,
talking about the intro for Alligator, and it's a kid going off a diving board into a pool with a big fucking alligator in it, and it's going to happen. You don't got to see it. They don't show it,
right.
but fuck, man, that scared the shit out of me as a kid.
The scene, the scene about in this movie that I always remember is doesn't he attack a wedding? Is that this movie or part two? Like there's a wedding and he's just
I
everyone's
remember.
kind of like going about their business and the alligator just like shows up and starts like decimating the entire wedding. It's great.
When
It's so over the top. Oh, here it is. Yeah, the alligator goes on a rampage through a high society wedding party.
how big is the alligator supposed to be in this? Does it say?
36 foot.
Wow, man.
Yeah. So
That's bigger than a saltwater crocodile. I mean, I think
heck
those
yeah.
get up to like 25 feet, the real super big ones. So 30, 36. Jesus, man.
Oh, Robert Forster's in this. I forgot.
Oh wow.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
See, I think he's such a good actor. He legitimizes anything he's in.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
It's like, oh, that guy's in it. Okay, legitimate film.
Yep, yep. How about Altered States?
Love it, man. Man, I fucking love that movie. I want to see a remake. I know a lot of
Yeah,
people. I know a lot of people are down on remakes. I just feel remakes are too. The possibility of a remake being amazing, as long as that possibility is there, I think people should go for it, even if they fail. And unfortunately, they fail more than they succeed. But god damn it, man, when they succeed, it's really fucking good. And I
right,
feel like they could do something like that with Altered States.
for sure. Like a lot of movies that have like science fiction elements, like there's so much you could do with today's special effects technology that you couldn't do, in 1980. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'd love to see what like some visionary director could do with that story.
And you could go into all kinds of venues. I mean, shit, there's drugs that damn near do that to you now.
Right.
DMT and shit like that. Um, you could really open up that story, man. I mean, I think there's a lot of potential in that. I don't
Because
know
what was the
who would do
gist
it.
is, yeah, I was just gonna say, who was the director that did Dune
Oh,
and Arrival? Isn't it the same guy?
yeah, Villa Villanueva.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah,
Arrival. Uh, oh yeah, this guy.
he's so badass, man.
Yeah, I don't know, somebody like him maybe. I mean, Altered States. I mean, Cronenberg in his prime.
What about Cronenberg's son?
Yeah, yeah. He's was it like Brandon Cronenberg or something?
Yeah. What's that new movie he's got out?
Infinity Pool.
Yeah.
Have you seen? Have you seen? What was the? Can't remember what it was called. Have you seen any of his films yet?
I don't think I have.
Yeah, he's a chip off the old block.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, we have.
So he's kind of carrying on the body horror torch.
Oh, he totally is.
Oh,
He's
nice.
he's yeah he's basically just doing his dad stuff. A great example of a good remake was The Fly. The remake was outstanding.
Yeah.
Or look
So good.
at The Thing. Yeah, yeah,
I mean, you got the well-known ones, you know, The Fly, The Thing, The Blob. My God, The Blob. Chuck Russell. Fuck, man.
And I to a lesser extent, I put Invasion of Body Snatchers up there.
Yeah, all of
But
them, right? I mean, there's multiple versions,
yeah, but we're saving the remake sequel talk for our for another episode.
right?
Um, but yeah, Altered States, and like the gist of this one was basically was he using DMT? What was he using? Just
No, he was in like a depth perception
yep,
tank.
right, and he was like also doing like was it like LSD or something?
Yeah,
I feel like there was a drug proponent to it. It was very um, I
it
don't
was
know.
almost like he was astral projecting,
Yeah,
and like while he was out there, something got a hold of him and came back with him
yeah, right.
and transformed him. And you know, man, awesome effects by Dick Smith, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great one. Um, the like the caveman that he turns into at the end of that movie is that's a pretty
Yeah, that's
striking
the thing
image.
he
That
becomes. Yep.
yeah, that's what I spoiler alert. I guess that's that's what I remember most about that movie.
Yeah, the thing is
Um,
really fucking wild, man.
yeah. All right, what else we got here? Uh, we can't ignore it. Oh, is this is
What is that?
no? This isn't it. This isn't. I thought this was Cannibal Holocaust. Oh, here it is. Cannibal Holocaust. Um, the first found footage movie.
I want to say no. I want to say there was something before that.
One
Uh,
of the first.
it's not good. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, we don't have to dwell too much on this one, but
it's a weird one.
it's a notable movie. I mean, unfortunately, I mean, it comes up in the group a lot. Um, people like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like when I first like I only saw it once,
Mhm.
and I only saw it just because of like the notoriety it had.
Right.
It was almost like people that watch those like Faces of Death
I was just gonna say
videos.
that, Adam. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like the notoriety. It was almost like an urban legend.
Right.
And I didn't watch it until I was an adult. Like I didn't watch it when I was a kid or anything. Actually, Paul lent it to me, and I was so nervous to watch the first time because it had. I mean, it's infamous, you know, and you hear things about it, you know, like the animal death and all that stuff. And yeah, I had to pound a few beers before I had the courage to put that one in. And I watched it once, and you know, never really had the urge to watch it ever again.
Yeah. There's movies in the genre, like subgenre films that are just way fucking out there, man. But they're like benchmark films as a kid. You're like, okay,
Yep.
how evil am I gonna go? You know?
Right.
Necromantic's one of those movies. You know, that movie's fucking insane, man. It's not a good movie, but it's one of those benchmark, you know, horror films that's so like underground and low budget independent that when you see it for the first time, it blows your fucking mind.
Right. Yeah. Right. and like, and I'm sure we'll, as we go along throughout the years, we'll see some of these movies. Although I think primarily the rape revenge genre, for whatever that was kind of a 70s.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely grindhouse type shit, huh?
yeah, that really. So maybe we won't. But I was gonna say, I kind of put like Cannibal Holocaust in the same category as like I Spit on Your Grave, and like some of those movies where like you're just I'm not the target audience.
No, super eclectic taste on those films, and I've always wondered why. But hey,
Like,
man, I mean, some people like what they like.
you know, like, do you want to see some lady get raped for an hour and a
Oh,
half? Watch this. It's like,
yeah.
I'm good. And like Cannibal Holocaust and similar. And it's just they could have told that story without hacking up all those animals. And like people always say, like, um, well, they fed it to the village afterwards. So, but I don't know. To me, that doesn't make up for it. We don't need to see that. But anyway, all right. And the Changeling.
Oh, what a great movie, man.
Yeah, I mean, this is top five ghost movie,
Yeah, I think so.
and that's really saying something when you consider the plethora of ghost movies that are in existence. But I think that's definitely top five.
I think George C. Scott's performance in The Changeling and Exorcist 3 elevate those films
Yep.
beyond what they would be with any other actor.
Right.
Him and him alone make both those films classics. He is fucking phenomenal in both those movies.
When you get an actor of that pedigree like involved in your project, like it almost instantly um, ups the caliber of the film. Kind of like how what we were saying earlier with Robert Forster. Like George C. Scott, is just a powerhouse actor, and that really makes the Changeling like it's such a classic ghost story.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
great one.
that little boy drowning in the bathtub, man. That's some real like creepy, fucking horrific shit, man.
Yeah, I know you have a lot to say about the Curse of King Tut's tomb, so go. 'Cause, yeah, yeah, we haven't
Well,
seen it.
on the scale of classics, it's highly ranked.
Now, Paul was here. He'd go to town talking about City of the Living Dead.
Well, so City of the Living Dead is also Gates of Hell.
Okay, that's how I knew it.
So
Gates
yes,
of Hell.
so I'll refer to it as Gates of Hell because that's how I saw it, and I love it.
Yeah.
Italian movie. It's if you know what you're going to get with an Italian horror film. I think this one elevates itself above some of the others. Maybe just a notch below Zombie.
Wow, that's high praise.
Yeah, I think it's Fulci's second best film behind. Well, I guess technically it'd be Zombie 2, right? So
Right.
yeah, but I
Which
think
isn't.
yeah, this is really, man. I
Oh,
talk
I
about
have
this all
seen
the.
this. Okay, this is where the priest hangs himself.
Yeah, this is the one.
Okay.
The girl pukes her guts all out.
Yeah, and the worst part. Yeah, there's that scene where like she's the couple are making out.
Oh yeah,
Um, and she sees the priest, and like she starts puking her guts out. But the most disturbing part of that scene is the eye
yeah.
that like implodes in on itself. Like, dude, the effects work in that scene is like ridiculous.
I love it, man. I think it's better than The Beyond and um, House by the Cemetery and some of his other films.
It's our buddy Ryan. What's going on, Ryan? Yeah, come back. Pop in later. Um,
But yeah, good. It's a good one, man. Sound editing. Again, we talked about this last time we had a show. The sound editing is just so good, man. it's so loud and out front, and just it really kind of gets you into the mood that he's trying to set with the scenes. And I think one of the reasons is because the sounds are so fucking loud.
Right. Just want to take a look at Fulci's filmography for a second. So, all right. So, Done Torture, Duckling. I've heard of that. Zombie 2. House by the Cemetery. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Oh, The Beyond.
yep.
New York
That's the
Representative.
one that Tarantino fell in love with and remastered and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Fulci. All right. Well, let's see. Going down here. I'm not gonna talk about things that I've seen. So,
Oh
if
yeah,
there's something that, but oh, here we go. Fade to Black. This is pretty legit. Have you seen this?
I saw it when I was a kid, but I can't remember most of it. I just know that
It's a
it,
good idea for a slasher movie. Yeah, I didn't see it um, until like the last 3 or 4 years. Um, it's basically a slasher movie where the guy dresses up as like each of the Universal monsters,
Mhm.
and he's like so in he in I don't know. I thought that part. I thought that was kind of cool. And he goes to the movies all the time, and so he's like like obsessed with the movies. Um, I don't know. I think it's a good little slasher movie. It's it's original.
I saw the poster art when I was a kid. I was wanting to rent it, but I never did.
Hmm. Trevin, just briefly. I'm not. I'm not. What do I want to say? I'm not an expert on Fulci by any stretch of the imagination. Like Paul has Paul has taken me by gunpoint and forced me to watch some Italian horror, and I've grown, to appreciate some of the films that I've seen. But for by and large, Italian horror just isn't my thing. Um, and I've it's kind of an acquired taste. Would you agree with me?
Yeah, I mean the other ones, and we've talked about these are demons, maybe demons too.
Demons too, yeah, demons and demons too, for sure.
Although, man, I gotta tell you, man, as good as that main demon makeup is in Demons 2, I think that movie is way inferior to Demons.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I don't know. There's just the way those movies are shot and written. There's such a nonsense. There's always like a nonsensical factor to them. Like I'll be watching them. I'm following along, and then suddenly it's like almost like when like when you're asleep and you dream and things like stop making sense, and your fourth grade teacher shows up. Like, and you're just like, what's happening? I mean, like,
Why am I slowing down? Why am
yeah,
I pissing myself?
why can't I run? Why are my teeth falling out? Uh, you know?
Then you
It's
fucking
just
wake up and you got lockjaw from grinding your
yeah.
teeth.
There's just always something that happens in those movies that like throws me, and I'm just like, all right, I'm out. I'm checked out. But anyway, all right, here we go. Speaking of top five ghost movies, um, The Fog. I mean,
Oh man, my favorite. I think that's the greatest ghost story ever made.
mhm,
Ghost movie.
it's hard to argue.
Um,
Um, although I was scanning this list earlier, the other arguably best ghost movie is also made in 1980s.
a ghost story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, no. Where's it at? This one.
Oh yeah. When did a ghost story come out? That must have been later.
I think that was Was it the 70s?
No, I think that must have been 82,
81.
81. Okay.
81.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Man, The Shining's
Yeah.
fucking great, dude. The Fog is great. So we've had like a poll in the group, I think several times, where The Fog has
Yeah.
gone up against The Shining. The Shining won or The Fog did?
Uh, I want to. The Shining is one of those movies that I think people automatically vote for. It's almost like Pavlov's dogs. Like you
Yeah.
see, like one of these movies, like The Exorcist, um, The Shining, and it's kind of like its reputation precedes them, and I think people just automatically vote without even like thinking about it. You
Right.
know, I think The Shining usually wins, um, but and don't get me wrong, I think The Shining is a masterpiece, but you
Agreed.
know, if you know, my son is at the store at the mall with his mom, and I have a few hours to myself, and those are the two movies that I have to pick one from. I'm picking The Fog
Yeah. And
ninety
I'll
nine
go a
point
step.
nine percent of the time.
Well, and also, man, can we give a shout out to the legendary Dean Cundy,
Sure,
um, the cinematographer for, you know, all of the great Carpenter films.
Dean Cundy. Yep.
My God, man, the way they shot The Fog and were able to push it around and make it look so much bigger than it was, absolutely fucking stud, man. That movie, a lot of people, I mean, not a lot of people, but there's a percentage of Carpenter fans that would put that movie as their favorite Carpenter film. I definitely think
Yeah.
it's definitely top five. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it in a while how I would stack my favorite top five Carpenter movies. I mean, you got a hell of a battle just for first place, I think, with Halloween and The Thing, and I don't know what else.
Christine.
Oh man, I fucking love that movie.
I do too.
I can't believe they're remaking it.
I know. I don't know, and like I'm on the fence. You can't make that any better. Like, I guess we'll get whatever. It's miss. We don't. We can. We'll just. The conversation can come and go as we please. Like that scene where Christine is smashed to bits
Oh yeah,
and builds herself back up, and it's all done with just reverse photography.
yeah. See, they won't do that now.
They
What
won't do that. It'll
yeah,
be
they'll
some
do a bad
CGI
digital version. Yeah,
Transformers bullshit,
yeah,
And it's like it was such a simple but flawless and like effective.
yeah. Because it looks real,
Hmm.
man.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
tangible. You're watching this happen, and you're like, that is fucking happening. That's really happening.
Right. But um, but yeah, the fog is
So good.
such a great little ghost story.
Adrian Barbeau.
Yeah. Yep.
I got the live cast for
Yeah, Adrian Barbeau. You got freaking the legend. His name is
oh, Tom
escaping me.
Atkins
Tom Atkins. Yeah.
drinking a beer.
Right. The legendary duo of Carpenter and Deborah Hill.
Oh
Jamie
man,
Lee Curtis.
yeah.
Hal Holbrook. I always forget he's in this movie.
Oh, so good, man.
Yeah. All right, so that's the fog. And then all right, here we go. Friday the 13th. Now, talk about a movie I slept on hardcore.
When you were a kid, really?
Just because, I always heard that that was the movie, that was the one that didn't have Jason in it. And like, I didn't want to watch the one that didn't have Jason in it. I mean, that he shows up at the end, sort of. But you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to see Hockey Killer, Hockey Mask and Machete and all that. So I heard, when you're growing up, I heard that's the one. He's not even in it. So I kind of just shied away from it.
Well,
Um,
so correct me if I'm wrong, but Friday the 13th came out in 80, and then I think the year after, it hit HBO. I think it hit HBO about a little over a year after it was in theaters. And
okay.
by that time, I think Friday the 13th Part 2 was coming out. So you had Part 1 being rediscovered, you know, for the first time, for the second time, and then everybody's seeing the part twos out in the theater. And I think they started putting them out like every single year in the 80s. It became like a once a year, I think, movie.
Paul says, I still wanted Tom Atkins to be Jamie Lee's kid's father in Halloween Ends.
Oh, that would have been great.
Yeah, no pressure, Paul, but if you decide you want to jump on, just hit me up. Um,
So I love Friday the 13th. I think you take the story in part one and part two, and I kind of look at both of those as a separate offshoot from part three and on. And
right.
I think if you just look at part one and part two, I think it's a really great story.
It's a great little movie. It's a great movie. It's just it's so similar. It's it's so different than what we got, you know, afterwards, with Jason being like the main villain of the franchise. But like Betsy Palmer as Mrs. Voorhees is like that's an iconic character. That's an iconic slasher.
Yeah, and could you call her a feminist icon?
Maybe. I mean, she was the one of the first. Uh, I'm probably gonna stick my foot in my mouth, but I can't think of a female villain. It's definitely a female slasher that came or that came before this.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at her as a leader as far as what she was and what she did in that movie and what she spawned, Jason motherfucking Voorhees.
So it drives me crazy though. So like she goes crazy. Oh, here we go. She's too anti-sexual empowerment to be a feminist icon. I'm gonna assume
Oh,
that's
okay.
Paul that said that.
Okay,
Okay.
that's interesting.
I can tell when it's Paul. um, but yeah, like the whole like what were they going for with part two and beyond? Like she goes crazy in this movie because her son died, and then suddenly and there's that great jump scare at the end with Jason coming out of the lake and going after the final girl.
Right, but we play that off as some fucked up dream by her, and
Sure.
then that's it.
Right. And then
Because
suddenly,
Jason, because Jason Voorhees should be dead.
right.
Right.
And then Jason shows up in part two. And it's
Right.
just like, I get, like they did that just because they wanted to continue the series and Mrs. Voorhees was dead and, like whatever. But like, it always just drove me crazy. Like, what actually happened? Like story wise, has anyone ever sat down and tried to try to figure that out? Like she thinks her son is dead, and she's going to kill all these counselors because of it. So clearly, she thinks her son is dead, and then suddenly he's like not, and it's just like people go nuts about Michael Myers and Laurie Strode being brother and sister. Oh, that doesn't make sense, and yeah, like it ruins the franchise. But it's like here you go. Like the entire movie, the entire first movie is based on the fact that Jason is dead,
Right.
and then suddenly he's
And his death is the motivating factor of why we get, the death and murder at Camp Blood.
right. Yeah. Yep. So I don't
You're
know.
all doomed.
So yeah, that's it. And that guy, that old guy,
Yeah.
he should have been in it. He should have been the connective tissue that was in all these movies. Like I think he gets killed in the second movie, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah. He's in one and then he's in two.
Like he should have been in the entire. He should have been the one thing that was constant, other than Crystal Lake, was this old guy telling all the horny teenagers they were going to get got.
I love the realism, or at least the believability of 1 and 2, separate from what we get after. I
Yeah.
mean, 3 maybe to a certain point. 4 becomes a little bit more fantastical. Five's not Jason, and then we get 6 where it becomes superhuman. But I really appreciate 1 and 2. With the believability factor that they have.
Paul's going to be the old guy from Friday the 13th in his elder years. He's starting now, though. I always tell him that. He's starting early. All right. So
What else we got from
what
80?
else we got? Humanoids from the Deep. Now, this is Roger Corman.
With effects done by Rob Bottin, right?
Let's look.
It's one of the first movies he did, I think.
Not coming up.
Pretty sure it's one of the first films he did.
Well, like I said, Wikipedia is not. It's not always reliable. But he's not pulling up as on the article. Let's see.
I'm gonna lose some street cred if I'm wrong.
Rob Bottin.
I'm totally gonna lose street cred if I'm wrong.
Humanoids from the Deep. Yep.
Oh fuck yeah! Woo!
Rob Bottin and Doug McClure.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be here all night.
Dude. You got a football you can spike or anything?
I was sweating on that one, man.
But this is vintage Corman,
Yeah,
but about a bunch of horny fish people.
worth a watch, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, with a lot of you got to be in the mood for it,
This is one of those films that JP loves.
Oh, really?
Oh, I'm just assuming.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
film like this that's right up his alley. Just schlock,
Yeah. Yeah.
just nonsensical schlock.
Inferno. That's part of the Suspiria franchise, is it not? Yeah. Okay.
Nice
That's the
art.
sequel to Suspiria. That's the sequel to Suspiria, I believe. I have not
Paul?
seen that. Have you?
No, I have not, but Paul has.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has a lot to say about it.
Oh, we have Maniac.
So I just got into a great discussion with a guy in the group the other day. It was a great discussion. I loved the way he was describing scenes from the original Maniac and comparing them with some of the scenes in the context in the remake. I love the remake. I think the remake is so good and so realistic that I actually can't watch that film that often. I watch it maybe once every couple of years because I feel like when I'm watching that movie, some scenes are really fucking disturbing. They look like snuff shit.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't get, when I watch the original, I just get kind of like the schlocky early 80s, serial killer slasher vibe. Yeah, he's,
Right.
that character, he's goofy, but I feel like the remake just has more to offer.
Frank Zito was or not. I'm sorry. Joe Spinell was pretty great in this, though.
Yeah. It's good. He's gross. I mean, it's
he is gross.
Yeah.
He legit. He looks like he is like the human personification of New York in the 70s.
Yeah.
Like gross, just drugs and seedy, strip joints, and
he's like a big burly fucking guy.
Yeah, yep. And he died. He died pretty young, I think. But like, Look at the movies he was in while he was around, like The Godfather, Godfather 2, Rocky. He's like the main gangster guy in Rocky.
Oh wow.
Taxi Driver, but anyway, um, like it's like one of the like he makes the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, like I agree with you. The remake. I probably prefer the remake over the original, but you know, I still dig this one.
Oh,
You
I do
know,
too.
it's not in regular rotation by any means, but um,
If the slasher genre is your favorite subgenre, I'm sure that's a top 5
then
movie
this
here.
is up there for you, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, I am a huge fan of the recreation of that poster artwork in the remake on that first kill. Oh man,
It's a
dude.
it's a poster.
Oh, dude.
All right, let's look at it.
In the remake, he
Right,
he
2012.
yeah, he kills somebody and then they show him looking in the mirror and it's a recreation of the cover of the
Right,
movie.
right here.
You got to pull it up. I can't see.
Uh,
No, those. I mean, it looks like the poster. He kills somebody and it looks like the poster. It's awesome, man. It's shit like that really makes me appreciate the remake just a little bit more. The way they shot it and how we only see Elijah Wood when he sees himself in the mirror.
is it this? Can you see this over here?
Yeah, no, it's not that.
Okay, all right. But yeah, I mean, straight. That's inspired casting too.
Oh, I agree.
Or Elijah Wood
Yeah,
in the
I mean,
Joe Spinell role.
he's great as that fucking thing in is it Sin City?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
What else we got from 80?
Paul says my top five were The Fog, Humanoids, City of the Living Dead, The Shining, and the Changeling.
So you talked about the Changeling more. You want to talk about the Shining a little bit more?
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Paul's right, man. I mean, we talked about it a little bit ago, but I don't think we can talk enough about that movie. It is it's incredible. The stories behind the movie are incredible. The performances and how they happened are incredible.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's almost legendary now. That movie. And when you think of Stanley Kubrick, I mean, that's got to be one of the first movies that come to mind.
Oh yeah.
Or even like Jack Nicholson. That's probably one of the first movies that come to mind. Um, I mean, the cinematography in that movie is just like breathtaking, right?
Oh yeah. Those long corridors.
Hmm.
Let me get some water. Keep talking.
Yeah, or like the overhead shots, like of just like the scenery and the hotel itself, or like the Colorado mountains. You know, it's just
I think one of the best intros to a Stephen King film I've ever seen. That intro is when they're traveling on the side of the mountain, incredible.
in that ominous music, like that ominous, just like nightmarish music.
I get a similar that intro for The Shining. I get a similar vibe for the intro for It Chapter 1.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but fuck, man. I mean, would it be Nicholson's greatest performance? He's got so many, Adam. I mean, my God, if we gave a top 3 Nicholson performance, let's go, man. Top 3 Nicholson. Paul, what's the top 3 Nicholson performance?
Well, you got to go. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's
I
got
mean,
to
do
be.
you? He's got so many.
I think that's up there. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Well, I'm definitely going to say The Shining.
And for sure. Yep.
Um,
What do we say? Top three,
yeah, let's go top three.
and then there's like I don't know. There's like five easy pieces. He's,
The Pritzi's Honor,
yeah, hell, like
Chinatown.
a few good men.
Yeah,
Chinatown. That might be my three. That might be my three.
dude. I know this sounds crazy, but I might say Witches of Eastwick.
He was good in that for sure.
His speech on women when he's in the church.
Paul says Joker.
Oh yeah. So that's my three. Adam, that's my three. I'm going with The Shining, Witches of Eastwick, and the Joker in Batman. I feel very, very good with those three.
I'm going like these. I'm going off. I'm going off the board here a little bit. I'm going to say The Shining, The Last Detail, which not a lot of people have seen, and Chinatown. I
Can
think
I give a real close fourth?
yes.
And this is off radar, and I don't think a lot of people have seen this, and that is shameful because this movie's so fucking good. The Pledge.
The Pledge is great. The Pledge is fucking great. That is such a
Everybody,
great movie.
listen to Adam and listen to me.
Yeah, it's a great
Go
fucking movie.
see The Pledge.
Yep, that's Sean Penn that directed that movie.
Yeah, with his wife at the time,
Yeah, Robert
Robin
Wright
Wright
Penn.
Penn.
Yeah, no, that's such a great movie. Like I'm not gonna is
The
a
end of
kick
that
in the
movie
absolute nuts.
will fucking make you so goddamn unsettled
Yeah, and just pissed off.
and just like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? But you know what? It's real, man, because that shit could fucking happen.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And he was
Like,
I oh no. Now I want to go on a whole tangent about that movie. But he was right. He was right.
yeah.
He was right. But he died thinking he was wrong. It's awful.
Ugh.
Anyway, that's a great movie. All right. Terror Train.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay, right? I mean, it's a New Year's Eve train movie where they're having a costume party, right?
Yeah. Isn't that bizarre though that they're all dressed up like it's Halloween, but it's like New Year's? Like
Yeah,
who does that? I wish people did do that.
it's cool
I would
though.
like a second version of Halloween,
Yeah,
the
it's
holiday.
it's cool, right? I mean, it's all right.
It's a fun movie.
I think it's better than Prom Night.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that one. I don't know. It's got a cool kind of vibe to it. Like David Copperfield shows up and does a magic show,
Right.
and David Copperfield is, I don't know. Do you remember as a kid growing up and watching those David
Dude,
Copperfield
he was
specials?
a badass,
Yeah,
man.
he
I mean,
was. He
there's
made
a
the
reason he was banging supermodels.
Yep, made the Statue of Liberty disappear, and
Yeah.
he would walk on stage wearing leggings or whatever yoga pants before it was even popular, and all the housewives of America tuned in to see that shit. He was like a sex star. He was a sex object. But
Watch me make a tent appear right before your eyes.
but yeah. What is Paul saying? I used to have a masquerade party for New Year's in my single days.
Oh, nice.
Is that like with the masks and stuff? So what
Take
that mean?
off your clothes.
Yeah. All right. So toxic zombies. We kind of got into that.
Yeah, so Toxic Zombies, I saw it a couple times. It's a decent rental if you're a kid. You know, they spray some marijuana with some shit, and hippies, I think, smoke it, and they turn into zombies, and it's nothing special. I mean, it doesn't like totally suck like redneck zombies, but it's not great or
Watch
good.
in the Woods. I know I've seen, but I can't remember a goddamn thing about it. Uh, Betty Davis is in this.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I've seen that one.
I know this is highly regarded. It's from Disney, Walt Disney Productions. I don't remember anything about it, so I can't speak intelligently of it. Without Warning, that's pretty good. It's kind of a low budget alien movie. You ever see this one?
I saw it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Don't remember it enough to comment on it.
All right. Fair enough. Um, so let's continue on, shall we?
Yeah, we're going into 81, right?
81. Yep.
Paul's favorite year, but 85 I think is better.
85. I'm torn. I got to look at them side by side.
I mean, shit,
'Cause
we'll
for
talk about him
me,
tonight, but 85 is a fucking
85 and 87 are neck and neck for me.
yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but 85 and 87. Um,
87 might have been the better overall movie year, but I think 85 was a better horror year.
yeah, it could be.
It's hard to fuck with 87 when you got RoboCop and Predator and
Do you have anything to say about
Lost
Absurd?
Boys.
I haven't seen this one yet.
What's this?
Absurd. Have you seen this?
No, I don't think I have.
I haven't seen that one yet either. So let's just. All right. So here we go.
81.
Look at that.
Woo!
American Werewolf in London. It came out in 81.
Mwah.
Um, and you know,
Like a fine wine?
it really, yeah. Just, I mean, it doesn't get any better.
No.
It really, I mean,
This
what a
was
what a
this was
great.
one of the first films I showed all three of my kids at like around 3 or 4. Of course, I covered their eyes during the sex scene, but I'd let them watch all the graphic murder. And shit. Um, this fucking movie's great, man. I look at it as must watch viewing
Yeah,
for a child, almost like Sesame Street would be to some. And I think there's a lot to love about that movie, and we should celebrate it every single year.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just, it's the perfect blend of comedy and horror, because it's very much is. It's like comedy characters from an '80s movie, from an '80s comedy,
Yeah.
dropped into a horror film, and
And it's when Landis still had that magic, you know?
mhm,
I mean,
yep,
obviously he lost some of it during all those lawsuits after Twilight Zone, but this is 81, man. So he was still at the top, man. I mean, he just commanded whatever.
whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he had made some fucking heavyweight films up to this point. So for him to go into, into the horror genre and make this film, God, what a fucking film, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those movies too. Like, it gets better every time I watch it.
Yeah. I mean, made Rick Baker a household name.
Yep. Got David Naughton fired from Dr. Pepper because he showed up. Did you know about that?
No, what happened?
Well, he was doing the Dr. Pepper commercials, like singing and dancing, and Dr. Pepper, it's fucking delicious, and throwing Dr. Pepper on his face. And so he had this like cushy job, and then he took this role, and there's nudity in it, and Dr. Pepper was like, "No, you can't. Sorry, you showed your ass in this movie, and we don't condone,
What?
sexually charged behavior." And
Oh,
they fucking canned
man.
him. Yeah, dude. Yeah, he was the face of Dr. Pepper. But anyway, I mean, we've talked about this movie in length, but like David Naughton's performance in it, particularly during the transformation scene, is just like like you believe he's genuinely going through a horrific transformation, and he's great.
Yeah.
But like Jack is one of the best things in this movie. His
So,
entire character,
what is he?
he's
Is he an entity, a ghoul, a zombie, a ghost?
I want to say he's close to being a ghost, but then like every time you see him,
He decays.
he's more decaying. So it's almost like every time you see him, it's the natural progression of his real life decay, of like his real body, wherever his body is. So it really doesn't make any like it's because you'd assume they buried him, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
But we're seeing like a physical transformation of that spirit.
yeah, right. And it's not just like a ghost, right? Because if it was a ghost, it would just look like him,
Yeah.
or maybe him right after he got attacked. But the fact that he like keeps decaying like throughout the film, and I mean, and the effects on him like decaying are just as good as any of the werewolf effects in that movie. You know,
Yeah.
some
I think
almost more
the start.
so
What's that?
because the effects on Jack's like decaying zombie like face are almost better than other than the transformation scene. Like they're like the highlight effects of the movie. Because like the werewolf we've talked about this too is for the most part it's just that prop that they had. Like you know what I mean? Like the what would you call that?
But
The mold. The head of the wolf that they
yeah,
would like.
it's just the front, like the shoulders and the front
Yeah.
two
I
legs and
mean,
the.
they did what they could with it, and
Sure.
it still looks good. But
Sure. But
um,
it's almost the kind of the same with what they did with the demon dogs in Ghostbusters.
yeah, 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 yeah.
You only see the front part of it.
All right, Paul's top five for 81: My Bloody Valentine, Howling, American Werewolf, The Beyond, and Ghost Story. So The Beyond. This is another Fulci.
Oh, Paul, talk about the Beyond, man.
Oh, I've seen this one. This is like they're in Louisiana. It's almost like a zombie movie.
But I mean, Fulci had zombies in almost all his movies,
Yeah, yeah.
and they're always kind of like kind of similar, except for zombie. Like you had more voodoo looking zombies.
Of The Burning. Didn't like Savini turn down something kind of prolific to do this?
Um, yeah, what was it?
Uh, did he skip a Friday the 13th or something?
He did. I think it might have been part two or three.
Yeah. I mean, the Cropsey character is pretty legit.
Yeah, I mean it's goofy, that the murders of all those
Well,
kids in those canoes. That shit takes way too long. It's like just weird. It's like what the fuck. These
it
kids
is.
are just sitting there screaming as they're watching everybody die. It's like, when are you gonna fucking get up and do anything? It's like, are you just gonna like, okay, so she's getting killed now, and I'm like three people later. I'll just sit here and scream. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's got some cool kills. I know people just watch those. The slasher genre fans just love the kills and how they do it.
It, I think Serpent and the Rainbow came out in 81.
No, that was 88.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going through the comments. So, okay. Cannibal Ferox. I
Don't
don't
know.
know.
Don't
Yeah,
know.
it's like Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh, okay.
It's just another. It's Italian. It's. I don't think there's animal death in that. I could be wrong. Dark Knight of the Scarecrow is pretty legit.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's got some creepy imagery.
yeah. And the guy that played Doctor Giggles, I can't remember his name, but he's the Scarecrow.
Is his name Larry David? No,
Larry Drake.
Larry Drake.
Yeah.
Larry David. That's fucking Curb Your Enthusiasm.
That would be a different movie.
Yeah, that would be a way different movie. Way different. Larry David. Larry Drake. L.A.
uh,
Law, man. He played a
yeah.
special needs guy.
Yep.
he was so good playing that special needs guy that when he played the bad guy in Darkman, I couldn't fucking get into the movie the first time I watched it because
Yeah,
I didn't believe that he was a bad guy. I was like,
yeah.
oh, that's the special needs guy. So I'm waiting for him to do some dumb shit. And I'm like, oh,
He was almost kind of typecast at that point.
but but then he's great in that role. And then he does Dr. Giggles, and that's a fucking cult film.
Yeah, for sure. Like Paul says all the time, you know, that movie was made to be a franchise.
I got to watch it again, I guess. I don't know.
They just didn't people just didn't go for it.
Yeah.
So, Dead and Buried, if this is the one I'm thinking of, is this where Oh yeah. Do you ever see this?
Uh, no.
All right. This movie's pretty wild.
Tell me about it.
It's basically just like this town where this like you're not supposed to know that it's a zombie movie, but it is. You know, like there's people. This guy shows up to this town, and he's like a photographer, and he's like taking pictures on the beach, and then like out of the blue, this hot lady comes up to him on the beach, and like is like it's she's like a model, and she's like let's have sex, let's do it right now, and
Fuck yeah.
and then like as they're doing it, or maybe afterwards, like the townspeople show up and like beat the fuck out of him, chain him to a tree, and like set him on fire.
Jeez.
And yeah, and then like uh, they're just the people in this town just keep coming back, and I don't want to like. I guess I already did spoil it, but it turns out that the coroner has like some technique, and basically everybody in the town is dead, and he's resurrected them.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
yeah, I would like to know what the scariest movie of all time is.
Oh,
Well, that's subjective. Um,
can they tell us what their scariest movie of all time is? Give me a little hint of what I'm up against.
yeah, what do you consider it? What do you consider the scariest movie of all? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would say The Exorcist, um, and I think that still holds water.
Yep.
Um,
I think as a child, there wasn't a movie that gave me kind of a sense of dread more than The Exorcist.
and I don't think like I'm not a religious person, but it's still scary to me.
See, when I stopped believing, the movie became a lot less scary to me.
But it's just like believing in anything else, you know? It's like when I'm watching A Nightmare on Elm Street, I don't believe that Freddy Krueger exists, but you can kind of suspend disbelief and put yourself in the character situation, and it's still scary to me. Or,
Yeah,
you
but
know, or
when I was a kid and I was going to church, that God devil shit was fucking put into
well,
my head
sure,
as being real.
mine
So
too.
I see The Exorcist, and I'm
Yeah,
like, wow, this is the God devil shit that everybody's talking about, on Wednesdays and Sundays, and that scared the shit out of me, man.
right, right. I mean, like, and there's a whole. I think part of the reason it's so scary is like they show a thing like they show like priests like doubt like having doubt,
Yeah,
and like that was like unheard of. It's just like, oh, priests are like actual people, and then of course we don't have to get into that, but they've
wrong show.
they've definitely shown themselves to be fallible. But anyway, so I would say The Exorcist. I think Ju-on and it's pretty scary. Um, do you like the original The Ring?
I think the original Night of the Living Dead is a scary film.
Yes. Oh yeah, yeah. Especially for its time.
Yeah, man.
I mean, the
That
fact that it still holds up in 2023 really says something.
I mean, brother, you know how I feel about that movie. The
I
God of
feel
horror.
I feel the same way though.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I mean,
You know,
it's really scary. I always laugh thinking about the fact that that was just dropped at drive-ins and like parents took their kids to see it like unsuspecting, and they probably saw like you know uh, UFO versus dinosaur or something like right before it, and then suddenly it was Night of the Living Dead. And it was just like a generation of traumatized people because of that
yeah.
movie. All right, so what else we got here? Oh, how about this?
Woo! Listen, guys, Evil Dead is a better film than Evil Dead 2. It
Okay,
just is, man. It's the story I think is better. I think that there's more unsettling shit that happens in Evil Dead. Yeah, it looks better in Evil Dead 2 when they do it. You know, that's early K&B years, before they were K&B. And yeah, there's some great shit in Evil Dead 2, man. I really appreciate that film and I like it a lot. But I just feel the horrific aspect of Evil Dead 1 and what you see, I just think it's better because I think it's a little more unsettling. And
I think
that's even with the claymation ending. Yeah, that's fucking weird. I get it. I understand. My kids watch it and they're like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, I don't.
I
Yeah,
agree, but like let's say that was the only movie that came of that. Let's say there was no other sequels. It was just that. Is Bruce Campbell still an icon today? Is Ash Williams still thought of as like a horror icon? Like I really think that it was two that brought them into the limelight. Like when people think of Evil Dead and when people think of Ash, they think of his portrayal in Evil Dead 2.
yeah,
Like
you're
because
right.
in Evil Dead, and I freely admit, like Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead is just a straight balls to the wall horror film. You know, for better or worse. I mean, some people like I tend to think that the comedy aspects of Evil Dead raise
You mean Evil Dead 2?
Evil Dead 2. I'm sorry, yeah,
Right.
raise the caliber of the movie for me just a tad. It's just such a it was just such a vehicle that was ripe for comedy.
Well,
Um,
Evil Dead 2 is a film about Ash. So Evil Dead 2 is an Ash film.
yeah,
Evil Dead 1
it's more
is
in a
not.
ensemble. Yeah,
Evil Dead 1 is a possession slash zombie film, man, straight up. And Ash just happens to be the final fucking girl.
yeah,
So Evil Dead 1, I think I appreciate it more because of that, instead of being centrally focused on one person. Yeah, man, he becomes a household name because of part two. And that's, I think, why I appreciate two so much. Along with, I think the effects are really fun, They're fun. Henrietta's really, really fun.
yeah, for
It's a
sure.
cool character, man.
Yep.
Um, and when all the blood sprays up, your mind goes places like, man, what the fuck is she doing to that body for that blood to spray up like that?
Do you ever see
That's
the remake, the Evil Dead remake?
Yeah, it's good.
I like it.
Yeah, I
You
have
know,
high hopes for this Evil Dead Rise.
yeah, I do too. I do too. I think they're smart not to try to replicate Ash because you can't replicate that. That's lightning. That's lightning in a bottle.
The only thing I worry about on this in the trailer for Evil Dead Rise is they really focus in on the mom Deadite. And
Yeah,
man, I hope she's not like the centrally focused like Deadite that they're gonna follow through most of this movie. I want to see I want to see this fucking all that shit like hopping from person to person like in part one.
you want to see demons.
Yeah, man, I want to see multiple people get fucked up and kill people.
Yeah, I mean, Evil Dead Rise is basically demons, isn't it? Demons too.
Yeah, a
You
little
know.
bit of Demons 2 in there, sure.
Um,
By the way, please somebody remake Demons, please.
Here's your jam right here.
So good, man. Why don't you like Sackhead Jason?
I just like when I want a Jason movie, I want to see hockey mask Jason, and honestly, I want to see like zombie hockey mask Jason. That's what itches my that's what scratches my itch
Right.
for a Friday the 13th movie. Um, I think too, but it's kind of like the first one. I slept on it a little bit. It's underrated. I think part two is underrated. Um,
I think
I
what's
think
her name? The final girl. I think she's fucking great.
it's a really good 1-2 punch for one and two.
Well,
Like,
the whole kill, on the final girl from part one, I think that really sets one hell of a fucking tone, man.
yeah, I
It's
mean,
like, wow, it didn't matter. She survived and it didn't fucking matter.
right, right. I mean, and I get what you're saying. It's more realistic. That was your take. It's like
Yeah,
it's
man.
realistic. If like some old guy, it's some like deformed,
It's a
you
form
know,
fucking mountain man.
crazy guy was in the woods. That's what he would have um, at his disposal. Not
Then she puts on the
not
sweater and
not
starts
sports
acting like,
equipment. He wouldn't have sports equipment readily
yeah.
available.
And then she puts on his mom's sweater and starts talking to him like she's his mom and then bashes him. It's fucking great, man.
Yeah.
There's some real, like, deep psychological shit going on there, Adam.
I'll also say this. I How many movies are there? There's 11. No, there's 12, and that drives me crazy because we're never going to get 13. We're never going to
No,
get
we're
thir
getting that TV. We're getting
We're
the
getting
TV
that
show.
TV show, but we're
Yeah.
never going to get 13 cinematic movies. I'm sure we will eventually, but it sticks in my craw that we're stuck at 12.
Well,
Like,
I
the
think Jason
13th.
Voorhees, Jason Voorhees, as we know it, is dead. I don't think we're
I
going
know.
to see
I know.
because the rights. Remember, the rights went back to that guy
Yeah.
that hates the
Yeah.
version of Jason now.
But like we're stuck at 12. Doesn't that drive you crazy?
Yeah.
Friday the 13th,
No, no, yeah. I would
we'll
have
never
thought there
get
would have been
Friday
like
the
a big.
13th part 13.
I
But
figured there might be a big celebration for something like that
yeah.
if they got to it.
But I had a point to make about that, but I forgot it. But anyway, yeah, a good flick. Oh, I remembered it now. There is not a more iconic scene, or yeah, scene in the entire franchise than Jason's shack with Betsy, with Mrs. Voorhees' decapitated head on top
Yeah,
of it, with the candles,
yeah,
basically the shrine that he had built.
yeah.
I mean,
And her head's kind of like mummified, right?
yes,
Yeah, it's all
and
fucked up.
that's one of the creepiest things to happen in the whole series. You know, it still had some nuance to it. It wasn't just
Well, I mean, it's that, and then the final girl kill in the beginning. It ties it into part one so much, which is why one and two are such a great separate story from three and up.
someone just said I have no audio. Paul, can you hear us? Certainly hope so. All right, Paul says I can, and that's all I really care about is if Paul can hear me. If Paul can hear me, we're good to go. All right, I'm gonna assume that we're good then. Jason, man, I don't know what to tell you, man. You can't hear us? Uh, oh, here's what you do. Tell you what to do. There's a little if you look where we're talking, there's a little speaker icon. If you click on that, it'll unmute us, and you should be able to listen to us. That's why you can't hear us, because right now we're on mute for you probably. If you actually look on the video, bottom right hand corner, there should be a like a volume hickey. Well,
All right, what else we got? What's
all right. Let's see. Funhouse, which is Toby Hooper, right?
Oh yeah, man.
That's a good flick.
I love it, man. I love that mask that Rick Baker did.
Yep.
It's a fucking great mask.
Ghost
Um,
Story. Sorry, you have more to say about Funhouse?
no, I did. It's fun, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Those kids get all fucked up in that funhouse. It's got some real tension.
Paul says he hates the Funhouse.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Hater.
I don't know, man.
Ghost Story's great.
Yeah, Ghost Story. Fred Astaire. Like, what a weird cast.
I know, man, but it fucking works.
It's like it's weird.
Because they show what they fucking did like when they were young, and then it's like them getting all
They're
fucked
all
up.
old, yeah.
Yeah. And then the guy in the beginning, he falls out the window and his dick is fucking flapping in the wind as he's falling down. When I was a kid, I was like, "Oh, that guy's dick's flapping in the wind."
You didn't see that very often. You still don't.
Yeah, I didn't care about him fucking falling. I was just like, his dick's flapping in the wind.
Then Halloween 2.
Okay, man.
It's still the best sequel.
I agree. I think it's still the best sequel, but man, we've talked about it. Dino De Laurentiis, I think a lot of the films that he produces, for whatever reason, they get like this B quality vibe with the acting and the production vibe. And I feel that part 2 has a lot more hokiness, kind of like weird, like B shit than part 1 does. And I think that subtle tone, that change, yeah, it might be the best sequel, but I don't think there's been a good sequel. That I think Halloween by itself is fucking perfect, and I think all the sequels fail. But yeah, I would probably pick Halloween 2 if I were to put a sequel behind the original. Yeah. It's got cool shit, right? I mean, you love it, right?
I love Halloween 2.
Yeah.
It's kind of the for better or for worse. There are like three. You know how like Rocky and Rocky 2 or Jaws and Jaws 2. They're like it's seamless. Like you could almost, if you take the credits away and just made it could almost be like one long movie.
Yeah.
I feel like Halloween and Halloween 2 is similar. Like Halloween 2, I see what you're saying about the hokiness and stuff, but I still think it's the one film in the franchise that has the closest feel to it, like the vibes of the original. And I mean, and because it was made so soon after the first movie, like everybody still kind of looks the same age wise, and I don't know. To me, it's a seamless um, it's a seamless story.
Have
And
have,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
have we ever got an answer? Does anybody have an answer? Has anybody ever written about it? Has anybody ever asked John Carpenter about it? About why there's 7 shots fired in the beginning of part 2 when they recreate the end of part 1, but we know there's only 6 shots fired at the end of part 1 because that's what he says and that's what we hear.
Yeah.
So why was there an extra shot put into sound editing, and why do we hear 7 shots in part 2?
Right.
Am I the only one? I'm the only one.
I mean, I know it's 6 shots,
But yet we hear 7.
I've never like when I was like watching it, I never counted. I wasn't.
Yeah, there's 7 shots fired in part 2.
Your two sticking points, I will say, are unique to you. Like this one, just because I never counted, but that would bother the hell out of me if I did.
Well, it's
Because
just
I mean,
lazy.
it's
It's
supposed to be
lazy. I
6
don't
shots.
understand it.
Well, yeah. What is? But the other thing that you always bring up is the breathing
Yeah, man.
behind the mask.
They go away from that in part 2, and it sets a precedent for all the other sequels.
Yeah.
Listen, I've said it 1,000 times. Go back and watch part 1 again. And what you'll see is they put his breathing and his heathen sounds when he killed people,
Hmm.
they put all of that in the forefront of the mix. So when you're hearing like the music play, when he's breathing or when he's killing somebody, that's happening as loud or almost as loud as the Carpenter score in those moments.
Right.
That never happens again in any other Halloween film. Not fucking one of them. Every single sequel ever made went away from that. Even when they tried to recreate it, they fuck up because they only half-ass it. They don't do it like they're supposed to. It's supposed to be in the forefront of the fucking mix, not in the background.
Right.
That's what they fucked up in the 2018 one. His breathing
I
is
mean,
in the
you argue,
background.
don't you, that like it's just as iconic as like Darth Vader's breathing.
Yeah. Turn the volume off and watch Darth Vader fuck people up. It's not the same.
About the same,
It's
right?
not the same. Listen to Michael Myers in Halloween. You'll never hear that again in any other fucking Halloween movie.
Plus, the scene of Myers' demise in the hallway on fire is amazing. I mean, yeah, it is. With
It's
with
great.
him him completely engulfed in flames,
Yeah.
still coming after her, and
So
then just
fucking good, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's other than like part one, it's the best ending of the series by
Yeah, I mean, you
far.
look at part 1 and part 2 as a story onto themselves.
Yeah. Um, we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on this, but the hand when I was a kid, we it was always on Encore. Did you ever have Encore? We had it was a pay channel like
I did have
HBO.
Encore was like one
Dude,
of the first channels that spun off of HBO.
yeah, The Hand was on all the time with Michael Caine. It's a really bad movie, but it was on all the time.
I saw it when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, but I I saw it so many times because it was just always on.
But
Encore would
Michael
play like the
Caine's in
same
it, so
four
you're like, well,
movies.
fuck, Michael Caine's in it. It legitimizes, the movie.
Yeah, he signed on.
Oh, wait a minute, though. He was in Jaws 4, so
Yeah,
I
yep,
should shut
yep.
the fuck up. I will shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So, all right.
What else, man? What else?
What about the Howling?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, dude.
What
Woo!
are the chances that like the two greatest werewolf movies ever made, ever made, came out in the same year?
Yeah.
That's insane to me.
And and neither film has been matched or surpassed
Yeah,
since
it's crazy.
in that subgenre.
Right.
That's a fucking travesty.
I mean,
That
if you
is a
were from
motherfucking
yeah,
travesty that there hasn't been a movie made as good as them or better. I know it's a testament to how good they are, but it also shows you how fucked up that subgenre is, and I just don't understand why
I
good
think
werewolf films can't be made.
I think people there's just a lack of interest in them. Honestly,
No, man, but I think if you did it right, no? I mean,
I don't think a lot of people want to go see a werewolf movie, other than us.
yeah.
Like I don't know. I mean, if I mean I don't know. Like maybe I'm wrong. Um, but like there's got to be, and also it's the fact that practical effects are a thing of the past for the- uh, for a large part.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Hey, do you want to know? Do you want to know real quick? I think you're right, and I still think you're right. But I think something that I'm very proud to be a part of. I think something changed that a little bit a couple of years ago, and I think that's Baby Grogu.
for sure.
I think the Baby Grogu puppet and how big that character and that puppet has become, I think has breathed a lot of life into practical effects puppets and makeup effects and things like that, especially for television right now with all the Star Wars stuff that I'm working on.
Yeah.
It's fucking, I think it's all because of Baby Grogu and how that character just blew the fuck up.
When you were working on that, did you have any access to the actors? Like, did you see Werner Herzog at all?
Yes, he came in. As a matter of fact, Shane brought him in through on a tour, and I went up to him. I'm like, "Oh my god, dude, I'm a huge fan. I love Nosferatu.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to talk to him about that guy that got eaten by the grizzly bear. You know, he did that movie. He did that movie.
There's an icebreaker.
Well, he did that movie, man, and
Yeah.
I listened to that fucking audio tape of that guy getting eaten alive, and it's fucking horrifying. And I'm being like, dude, I listened to that tape, man. What the fuck?
Yeah, dude. Timothy Treadwell. I know all about that. But
You know, I wanted to ask him
we're talking
about
about
Klaus.
The Howling. How did I get to Werner Herzog? But
I
anyway,
wanted to ask
we're
him
not.
about Klaus Kinski. And,
Oh yeah, dude. Like that dude was insane.
yeah.
But the reason I brought up Herzog was like he was quoted as saying he was talking to like John Favre. Is that how you pronounce it?
Hmm.
John Favre. And he was said something like, "You are a coward if you do not use practical effects. If you use cartoon CGI, you are a coward." I wish I could do a German accent, but I can't. Uh, but like, and I was just wondering, like, if you had heard anything about that. Like, he basically takes credit for that. Like, he was like, it's got to be a puppet. But
Yeah, dude. I was just so fucking happy to meet him, man.
yeah,
Guy's
I bet,
fucking
dude.
legend.
He's a living legend.
Yeah.
Living legend. But
But the Howling's incredible.
yeah.
Those werewolf suits, and I just have so much appreciation for the two-legged werewolves in that film. I still don't think there's been a two-legged werewolf done that looks as good as those.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. All right, what else we got here?
Oh, My Bloody Valentine. We better talk about that
Oh
or
yeah,
Paul,
yeah.
Paul get pissed.
I scrolled right by
Yeah, you did. See, Paul, I'm looking out for you, man.
it. To
Good
me,
movie,
to me,
awesome
it
intro.
to me, it's the best standalone slasher film
Yeah,
that didn't really have that doesn't really have a franchise other than remakes and fan films.
remake is okay until the end, and then the end happens, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. Um, it deserves a franchise.
Does it?
The first one is a great movie, and I
Okay.
think that
Now,
the ki-
Paul,
the
I'm super sorry about
I
this,
think the
but Adam,
minor is iconic. The
well,
minor, I think,
refresh
is
me
great.
with what happens at the end.
I don't remember.
Oh
I
God
think
damn!
they uh somebody gives them. I don't remember. I mean, like it turns out that the killer um wasn't the hairy guy. It was somebody else. I don't
I
recall.
haven't seen it in a while. I meant to watch it this Valentine's Day, and I didn't have time.
Yeah. So that
I'm
was a
sorry,
good
Paul.
review. That was a good review
Yeah.
of this movie.
No,
But
it's
I mean,
it's a
I
worthy film.
enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
worthy
it's a good
film.
movie. It's a good movie. I just haven't seen it recently, and I can't speak intelligently. Oh, here's your favorite movie, Porno Holocaust.
Oh Jesus!
Gee, look at that! Look at that poster. That's an actual movie. Okay.
Man,
Okay, Possession. Have you ever seen this insane shit?
I have not.
So the director made it. Sam Neill is in this movie. The director was going through like a horrific divorce when he wrote it and directed it, and it's basically just the worst breakup movie you've ever seen. Like it's and she like breaks up with him to go like have sex with this worm-like monster that resides in a decrepit, rundown apartment complex, and I don't know. It's a very arty film. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's definitely one, dude, you should try to watch once in your life, just to say that you have.
Man,
It
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 sounds
it
like
it's that out there.
yeah, I don't know. It sounds like The Hunger, and I fucking hate The Hunger.
Yeah, I'm not the hugest. The Hunger just makes me sad.
It's just art. It's an arty fucking film, and I
It's
just don't
really
get it.
arty and like
I don't get it, man.
she's got that room of people just laying there that are dead and like they're I can't even talk about it. It
The
like
editing is just it's just got this fucking weird like Italian editing.
yeah,
That's why Paul loves it.
The Prowler. That's another. I mean, Joseph Zito. He also did Maniac, right?
Yeah, I think.
And The Prowler. That's another. I mean, it's a pretty good standalone slasher movie.
I haven't seen it in a really
I
long
mean, like,
time.
to be honest with you, like this is for being an admin of a horror group. It's a little controversial for me to say that slasher is not my favorite genre.
Nor mine.
So, like, a lot of times, I've seen a lot of these movies like once. Um,
I know the pinnacle slasher films, and that's about it.
yeah, Scanners.
What a
I
fucking
mean,
movie.
yeah.
Hey, for anybody listening, get yourself some mushrooms and do mushrooms and watch Scanners. It will blow your motherfucking minds.
Yeah.
So, Adam, in the entire movie, in the background, in a lot of the scenes, I do believe, you hear ambient noises, or not noises, but voices. And it's other scanners throughout the whole movie talking to other scanners. And so you hear these fucking voices and you start tripping balls, man, because you're fucking all fucked up and you're, on mushrooms. And it is just the craziest experience.
Right. Uh, yeah, that sounds like I would just die if I did that. Like they'd lock me up.
Because in your head, you're like, man, is that fucking real?
Yeah,
Is that the movie? Is
I
that the
have low
mushrooms?
tolerance, man. I can't even do weed.
Oh man. Yeah, dude.
I turn into a carrot. Like an antisocial. Yeah, I can't even do it. Um,
I love
Paul
Scanners. Scanners is great.
Paul did bring up we Madman. I don't think Madman came out this year. Paul said we skipped the movie, but Madman 81. Yeah, no, it did. Okay, so where is it? It's not on the list.
You just
That,
made the list.
so that wasn't my fault, Paul. But yeah, Madman. Do you like Madman? It's probably one of my favorite. Dude, it's probably one of my favorite in a genre that I'm not all that fond of. It's probably I don't know who this jabroni is. It's probably one of my favorite in the genre. Um,
I have not
just
seen it.
it's just the fun. It's completely. It's almost like the fog in the way where the whole movie is. It's a campfire tale, you
Okay.
know. Whereas like the fog is a campfire tale about ghosts. This is like a campfire tale of an axe wielding maniac. It's a really fun movie in my estimation. So okay, be Piranha 2, the spawning
Oh, James Cameron's first film.
and best. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, It's the one where they fly, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's whatever. It's campy.
Yeah, right. Um, I don't wanna miss anything. Oh, Wolfen.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm glad we didn't miss this.
It's like the trilogy of the wolf.
Yeah. And I know these are like spiritual, like wolves of the wild, but fuck, man, dude,
It's
we
just
talked.
cool to me that they all came out the same year. Like,
Yeah, the
like
cinematography, man,
so cool to
the
me.
urban scenes, and how the fucking camera's moving, and you got the infrared look, and man, I love fucking Wolfen, man. I love the end. I love all that mirror shit, and I just love how everything like has this like that early '80s glow. Oh, I loved it, man.
It threw me off when I was a kid because like they were actual wolves.
Yeah,
Talk about wolfing right now.
yeah.
Like they were actual wolves. They weren't
Right.
like werewolves. That disappointed me.
Oh,
Looking back on it now, it's childish. But it wasn't. There were no practical. It was just basically a trained wolf.
right. I mean, they take out Gregory Hines on the moped.
Yeah. Right. But it's a great movie.
Yeah.
I think you had said cinematography wise,
Oh,
it beats the other ones out of the park.
yeah, man. I love it. It's got incredible cinematography.
I am drinking out of my slaughtered lamb pint glass right now.
Oh,
So
nice.
let's do a cheers to Paul. You got your water still?
I got some juice
Even better.
with
Cheers,
my
man.
mind on my money and my money on my mind.
Stick to the roads, lads. Yeah, we got our buddies Claire and Richard Bacon from England watching our show, so we're international, man. All right, so I guess we're
That's 81.
that's 81.
Great year. Great
Right
fucking
here.
year.
Yep. All right. So we're on to 83.
No, 80.
Amityville 3D. I am not the biggest follower of these Amityville
No,
movies. Are
no,
you?
no. We're in 82.
Oh, are we? Did I skip?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
my bad.
skipped 82.
My bad.
I was like, wait, we're not gonna
Yeah,
get to
dude.
talk about the thing.
Yeah. That would have been terrible. Sorry. All right. So, Alone in the Dark. That's Paul's favorite slasher movie of all time.
Okay. Have you seen it? I have not.
I saw it with him.
Oh,
Well, here's the thing. Look at this cast: Jack Palance, Donald Pleasance, Martin
hmm,
Landau, and they're all the bad guy. They're all e- 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 escaped lunatics from an asylum.
okay.
So they're like a group. It's like they're like the Avengers of slashers. It's like they like work together. They're like a team. So instead of
Hmm.
like there just being like one, there's like three of them. I think there's one other guy too. I think.
Kind of like a Scream movie.
Yes, yeah, sort of. Except they're not like hiding who they are. Um, but anyway, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good flick. Um, let's see. Paul says 82 is his favorite year.
Oh, 82 is. I thought 81 was.
Claire says love you, Adam. I love you guys too. Um, how about Basket Case, man?
Quirky ass movie, man. It's cool. It's weird, creepy. Got a kind of an unsettling vibe.
Yeah, this Helen Lauder guy.
Yeah,
I like his style.
kind of like
It,
has a little bit of that "It's Alive" vibe.
it's a little bit of it's a live vibe, but also a little bit of like Maniac vibe.
Yeah,
But just that like balls to the wall. It's very New York sleazy.
yeah.
It's very New York sleazy. Um, that's like one of those gross amount movies. I like it. I like it.
I like part two a lot.
Yeah. All right. Bloodbeat. I think this is the one where when a woman gets an orgasm, the spirit of an evil samurai visits them and slaughters them. You think I'm making that up, right? But it's no, that's actually what it's about.
Isn't that
Every
almost the plot
time this
for
woman,
Ninja? Is it Ninja 3 the Possession or Ninja
yeah,
2 the Domination?
every time this lady has an orgasm, an evil samurai appears and decapitates somebody.
Well, now I know what I'm doing for the next time I role play with my wife.
That's why I make sure she doesn't have an orgasm. No, just all right, cat people.
Oh yeah, let's talk about it, man.
Yeah,
Woo, dude. Natasha Kinski.
that's
That's
what's
amazing.
his name's daughter, right? Not Carl Kinski. What the hell is his name?
Oh, Klaus Kinski.
Klaus Kinski. That's his daughter, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really, really good. I think it's a really, really good movie. I think the fucking score is great. I think the Bowie song's fucking great. I think the cinematography's great. I think the special effects are great. I think the story's really cool. I think McDowell's fucking great in
Yeah,
it.
McDowell. Yeah,
Man, I just
the
when I was a
imagery is
kid, I
really great.
really loved this movie.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. That's an underrated movie. People don't ever talk about this movie. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. When she
That was
changes, when she changes, but she doesn't care because she loves him, so she wants to make love to him.
right.
But she can't because she can't make love to anybody but her brother.
And if she does make love to somebody else, she turns into a cat forever. Wasn't that the
Yeah,
thing?
yeah,
So she does it anyway.
yeah, because she loves him.
Right.
Oh, it's gonna make me fucking cry.
Yeah, she does it anyway. And then wasn't there a scene where like some guy gets his arm ripped off?
Yeah,
Like he's like trying to like I don't know, he's fucking with the panther, poking it with a stick,
yeah.
and
And
the
then you got
panther
that
just takes
badass
that thing and
score happening with the fucking synth.
yanks his
Ooh,
arm right out of its socket.
oh, it's so good, man.
Yeah, that's a good one. Um, have you heard of this one?
Woo! Bam,
Yeah, dude.
bam. Yeah, man.
Creep show.
To this day, still the greatest anthology horror film ever made.
It's tough to say otherwise. There are others that I put
Some
on that short list.
some might argue Trick or Treat. I don't. Some people I know really like Creepshow 2 a lot. I
I
don't
like
think it's
Creepshow 2 a lot. I really like Twilight Zone,
yeah,
the movie, just because I think that Terror at 20,000 feet is it doesn't even matter that that's only one short of what is it, 4? It's
yeah.
like the best thing of it. It's like the best anthology segment I've ever seen. Um, but I mean, and in a lot of ways, yeah. I mean, this is the pinnacle. This is the pinnacle.
I think this. I think you can make an argument for George Romero to be on the Mount Rushmore of horror directors with just the Dead trilogy. But once you incorporate films like this, I think it makes it a lock.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. For
I
sure.
mean, if you just talked about Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, and Creepshow, you're looking at a fucking guy that should be on the Mount Rushmore of horror.
Yep. Oh, 100%. 100%. Like those movies, like
Creepshow's great, man.
it's so
There's
good.
not a weak segment in Creepshow. That's not the case in Creepshow 2, and
Right.
I feel the same way with almost all anthology
See,
films. I
I
think there's like weak
you're
moments. I
right.
don't feel there's weak moments in
I
this.
felt my flaw is I fall in love with segments. and like I give a pass to the rest of the movie just
Mm,
because I really like a certain segment. Like for Creep Show 2, like the raft to me is like such a good it's such a good story. Um and as much as you're right, like I almost like the raft better than any segment in this movie except for the one with Fluffy, the crate.
right.
But that being said, they're all legit awesome segments. There, like you said, there isn't a weak segment in the movie. Um, so there, you said some interesting comments. So my top five. This is Paul. Top five for 82. Creep Show, Alone in the Dark, Slumber Party Massacre. He put Slumber Party Massacre over the thing. Okay, and then Poltergeist. I wish you were on the show right now. You put Slumber Party Massacre over the thing, but to each their own.
I can't speak to Slumber Party Massacre.
I'm pretty sure it's not as good as the thing. Just a hunch. Uh, but that's
So
fine.
you want to go to talk about the thing next?
Uh, we'll see. Let's see. Let's go down here. Uh, Friday third part. Well, we have two part threes right here.
What do we
That
got?
well, we have Friday the 13th part three, which is pretty notable just because that's the one where he gets the mask. He finally gets the mask, the hockey mask.
Right.
Um, that's really all I can say about that movie.
I think part three has some really beautiful women in it.
Okay, I could say that too.
Part three might be my favorite group of women in all the movies.
Is this the one that they always post the meme of the lady that's like that has like super short shorts? Is that this one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. This is my favorite movie of all time. I think. Um, then we have Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. I mean, like literally,
Divisive film, Adam.
it really is.
It is a very divisive film. I feel if you grew up in the 80s and you are of our age bracket or around that,
Yeah,
you will like this movie and appreciate this movie. If you grew up as a child of the 90s or the early 2000s, I feel you will not appreciate this movie like we do.
right, right. I mean, this movie had a resurgence in recent years. Um, it's no longer it's no longer vilified at all. For the longest time, this movie was outright hated,
Yeah.
um, and that just was because when it came out, there was no internet, and it was advertised in such a way. Basically, the gist what I understand is everyone that originally bought tickets to see this were still expecting to see Michael Myers at some point in the film, and he never showed up. And everybody was like, "What the hell is this shit?" You know? Um,
I can imagine the outrage, man.
right. Oh, say something.
No, that was my wife calling in.
Okay, okay, all right, that's fine. Um, but can you imagine? Because like nobody knew. Like if they weren't paying attention to the trailers, which didn't really have Michael Myers in it, you just saw Halloween 3. Everybody was buying tickets to this, thinking it was Michael Myers was back, and they got pissed off when he wasn't, and so they just ignored the fact that it was a pretty good little movie. I'm gonna go so far as to say, like, people are hating on this movie for so much. So for a really long time, this movie was underrated. I'm actually gonna say some. I actually think it's a little overrated now. Uh, it's a good movie. It kind of feels n- like an episode of Tales from the Crypt. You
Yeah.
know, it's just like a little contained story about masks that kill children, and I mean, and I think there's a reason for that. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying anything that anybody doesn't know at this point, but like this was the jumping off point of they were trying to turn it into an anthology series, and every year it was going to be a different story with different actors, and they weren't going to have any connective tissue other than it took place on Halloween.
Now
Um,
Carpenter didn't direct this; he produced it. But Dean Cundey shot the film. Correct
Kanye
me.
again, jeez,
And who directed it? Tommy Wallace.
I think that's correct. Yeah, Tommy Lee Wallace.
God damn, man.
He did this in Fright Night Part Two.
Right. Great fucking sequel. Well, we'll talk about that later. Yeah, man. Eh, Halloween 3, um, I really appreciate it. It's a fun fucking watch. And yeah, it's got some hokey shit in it as well. But I think it's a must watch,
Who
I
said this? Michael was in Halloween 3 almost as he was in Ends. Who said this? Oh, that's fucking Ryan. Because that's so true. That's so true.
Yeah, he's only in it when he's watching him on TV.
Yeah, at the very end. That's
Yeah.
so true. That's hilarious.
Fuck Halloween ends.
I mean, we thought we hated kills until we saw Halloween Ends, and then we were like,
Fuck
"Holy
yeah.
shit!" Yeah. All right. So, anyth- there's Madman. We already talked about that. Uh, New York Ripper. I just watched for the first time recently, and I'll say this: it's one of my favorite Fulci movies. I
Huh.
love this movie. It's maybe for not the reasons that like most people watch a Fulci movie. It's ridiculous. Um, I laughed so hard at this movie. Basically, the guy he talks in a Daffy Duck voice.
What?
Yeah, dude. Like when he's like actual Daffy Duck when he's like stabbing like the women, he goes like quack 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 quack. Like it's so crazy. Uh, anyway, that's that. That's my review of New York Ripper. All right. So, I could talk about pieces, but I don't want to. So let's go to Poltergeist.
Yeah. Love it.
I mean, I feel like I keep widening the goalpost because I keep saying this is top three ghost movie. This is top three ghost movie.
It's good, man. It's real good.
I mean, where do you rank that with The Shining and The Fog?
I rank it behind both those.
Okay.
I'd probably put it
I think I put it above both those.
I'd probably put it at 3 or 4. I think I put the Fog 1, the Shining 2, the Changeling 3, and Poltergeist 4.
I am a slave to nostalgia, and I am a slave to that Amblin Spielberg magic.
Yeah,
And
this has
I
it.
mean, this has it in spades, and it's so good. And like, there are straight up scenes of horror in this movie.
Yeah,
With the guy that has his face, like his face is like falling apart.
yeah,
That tree that sucks out the kid. The clown.
yeah. The closet, the second
Um,
time turns into a fucking mouth.
the mom that falls into the pool with the corpses coming out of the ground. I mean, like,
It's good stuff, man.
it's so good. Um, I'm a big fan of this film. Um,
Oh,
have you seen this?
Q. Yeah,
Larry Cohen.
yeah. That's some pretty good stop motion in that.
Larry Cohen is kind of like I don't know. He's like the other coin. He's like the other side of the coin of Roger Corman.
Right.
I consider them almost like the same person. I don't know. It's like he made some really satirical some really good satirical horror movies, and this one's like one of his most straightforward. You know, it's just a giant winged monster that's going to come kill you. But like Michael Moriarty is in it, and David Carradine, and that's just a
And I would
fun movie.
normally I would say Michael Moriarty legitimizes your film, but unfortunately I can't because he was in Return to Salem's Lot.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
And if you're in a movie like that, then you don't legitimize anything.
So I said, "Have you ever seen Corman and Cohen in the same room at the same time?" I knew that was Ryan. Uh, it's a good point though. Um, and cue the winged serpent.
Yeah.
I'm beating this joke like a dead horse, but cue the winged serpent did for uh, s- uh, s- skyscraper roof parties what Jaws did to the ocean. Like, because that was legitimately the only way he could kill you is if you were just hanging out on a skyscraper, you know? All right. What else we got here? Slumber Party Massacre. Paul could probably write a thesis on this. Um,
I can't
I
tell you
mean,
a damn thing about it.
yeah, dude, I can't either. That's
Paul, I'm so sorry.
I should turn in my horror badge because I feel like I should know more about this movie than I do.
I don't.
I mean that. Okay. All right, here we go.
Woo!
Another one
Now,
I haven't
if I
seen.
said what I said a minute ago about this, then yeah, you could revoke my license. But you just don't fuck with a movie like this. And I still, man, all these years later, I don't understand the hate when this first came out. Like when I first saw it, I knew I was witnessing greatness. But
Yeah.
for that movie to just get annihilated and slandered like it did the summer it came out just because it was the antithesis to ET.
E.T. Yep,
It's like, God damn it, man. What a fucking shame.
it really is. And that set Carpenter back like majorly. Like people
Yeah,
didn't want to
man.
hire him again, and like projects that he had lined up were just trashed. We would have had a John Carpenter directed Creature from the Black Lagoon remake had this movie been a success.
Wow. Wow, man.
That was on his radar. He was going to do that. I don't know if he, that was
Now we did get Christine.
yes.
So
Yes.
we still got a fucking gem.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't completely like kill him, but like,
But yeah, man, I mean, it's just when you go back and you read the reviews of this
I
movie,
think
they
this
don't
is
make
how
sense.
I think this is how there was the Golden Child, and what was the other movie that was very similar to the Golden Child? Oh, um, Big Trouble in Little China. I think he was originally supposed to do the Golden Child. I have to like back check this because I don't know for sure, but I think he was originally supposed to do the Golden Child, and he had all this um, like all these sketches of all these creatures and everything. And because this performed so poorly, they kicked him off of that film, and he used all that stuff that he was going to do with the Golden Child with um, Big Trouble in Little China.
Hmm.
So if it wasn't for potentially, if it wasn't for the failure of this film, we might not have gotten. Let me check that. Let me make sure I'm not full of shit. Big Trouble came out in '86.
Yeah.
maybe, maybe. So, all right. Well, anyway, Unhinged, Visiting Hour. Anything you got with any of these?
No, I saw Extra when I was a kid. It was interesting.
Yeah. This might be a two-parter, by the way. I don't know if we're going to get to 89.
What what year was The Beast Within?
I feel like I saw that this year.
Oh, okay. So this movie is not a good film. But when I was a kid, man, he transforms into this like monster and fucks these people up and like drinks their blood, and it got to me when I was a kid.
Yeah, for sure.
It's got like a weird demon rape in it. It's definitely fucked up, but and the special makeup effects are definitely not good. But man, there's a lot of blood in some scenes, and it got to me when I was a kid.
Paul, just along the lines of, sorry to backtrack, but about how we were saying about the thing, how it was a failure at the box office. Paul was saying Christine was because King wanted to save his career. He couldn't get funding.
Hmm.
I mean, I believe it. I don't know. Uh,
So around 83.
somebody's two-parter. You're not going to do all the 80s flicks tonight. I mean, we're going to do every 80s film tonight. You up for it? You got to.
Well, we're in 83, so
Let's keep going. All right. So now we're on 84, right?
no 83.
Oh shit. All right. Again, Amityville. I know, like Ryan, you guys watch these Amityvilles like back to back to back to back. I've only seen the first one, so I don't really have anything to say about this franchise. Do you?
Oh shit! Well, we fucked up because we didn't talk about Amityville 2, The Possession. That
All
would have
right.
been that was 82, correct?
Yes.
So I just to backtrack a little bit, Amityville 2, The Possession is the best Exorcist ripoff movie ever made, aside from Beyond the Door. It's good, man. Amityville 2, The Possession is fucking. It's very unsettling, and I really dig it. I think exactly the opposite for Amityville 3D. I think it's a terrible movie. Barely anything happens in it. You see some weird creature at the very end. I don't know, dude. It's gimmicky as all get out.
But
Not
how
a
are
fan.
how are the 3D effects?
Yeah, it's gimmicky. This is during the era where it was kind of gimmicky like this, and I think we're talking about Jaws 3D in this year as well. Um, it's just gimmicky as fuck, man.
Yeah, Jaws 3D, Jason 3D.
Yeah, they're all this year, right? The year of
Yeah.
3D. Yeah, dude. All gimmicky. Although in Jaws 3D, that's that spear that comes towards the camera. That's pretty badass.
All right. Paul's saying Christine, Sleepaway Camp, Something Wicked This Way Comes,
Oh yeah, man. The
Sucker
Disney film
2.
that Disney doesn't like to talk about.
Why is that? Well, I guess we can get to. Oh, we can talk about that when we get to it. Um, a better horror fan than me would have a lot more to say about The Blade in the Dark, but I don't have anything to say about that. Do you?
No.
All right. So it just jumped on to Christine then.
Woo.
Um, Look at this back to back. Like, say what you want about Stephen King, right? What he's done for horror.
Oh yeah.
Look back to back. Christine and Cujo.
Yeah.
Same year. Same year. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, he's had some duds, but I think now with the longevity of his filmography as far as what people have done with his stories, I think there's more to enjoy and more positive than there is bad. I wouldn't have probably said that in the early '90s, but I think by now you can.
I mean, clearly I mean, his best stuff was, decades and decades ago. But man, when he was on fire, he was on fire.
Yeah,
But okay, so Christine,
love it. It's another
is
film.
this other than? oh, I'm going to say because we all know that with The Shining, Kubrick took um, major leaps of creativity with adapting that book, which is why King hated it for so long because it was so different than the book. Um, so for that reason, I really think that Christine is the greatest Stephen King adaptation that we have. I'm trying to think what might come before this one. Like Stand by Me, which isn't horror.
I might say it chapter one.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I could see that. But this is up there.
Oh, I totally agree, man. It's such a great
I mean,
movie, man.
he made some minor changes. Like I think in the book, the original owner of the car was supposed to haunt Arnie, and he was always kind of like riding backseat. He was a lot from what I remember. He was a lot like Jack from American Werewolf in London.
Hmm.
He was like decaying and always sitting in the back seat, kind of like taunting him. But yeah, what a great movie, huh?
I love the transformation of Artie.
Yeah, and it's very Shining esque, right?
Yeah,
You know how the hotel kind of takes over Jack Nicholson and he becomes darker. I mean, it's kind of the same vibe where like the car really it becomes very really dark and like a stronger character, you know.
yeah,
Um,
it's a good one.
Cujo, what do you think of this one?
Made me scared of bats when I was a kid.
Yeah, getting rabies.
Yeah, like
Um,
that like horrifies me, man. Like I've seen like videos of motherfuckers like dying of rabies, and it's just like, oh man, I do not want that.
I mean, like the beauty of this movie and the story, I guess, is just that like the horror is in the specifics, like because a killer dog, a killer dog, even of that size, isn't really much of a threat unless you're isolated with it, you know. And like the whole concept of the car breaking down at this guy's farm, kind of in the middle of nowhere, and your son who is um,
Asthmatic, right?
asthmatic, and you're stuck in the car, and your car's. I mean, the si- the situation. It's like situational horror,
Yeah,
and like kind of like well, there's other examples in cinema like Frozen, where they're stuck on the ski lift, like stuff like that, where depending on the situation, it might not be that scary, but like he picked the scariest little elements possible to make it like the most horrific situation that he could come up with, and it's just great.
yeah.
It's a great little movie. All right. Curtains. All I know about this one is that there's like an old lady mask.
It's a cool mask, man, and there's like some ice skating with it. But yeah, I don't know much. I've seen it a couple times as a kid. Boy, man,
Yeah, they,
slasher fans fucking, they're like,
yeah, they hate
man,
us. They're
these
already tuning out.
motherfuckers.
That's why we're down to one viewer.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, that's pretty creepy. Look at that shit. Can you see that?
that's good.
So, oops.
So we're still in 83.
Yeah, I got out of it. My bad. Uh, okay. The Deadly Spawn. So I had to drive in. I don't care about it. You
Don't know
like
much
this?
about it.
Yeah. All right. Uh,
Hey, was 83 Strange Invaders?
it might have been. I'll double check. Final Terror, Fright Grizzly 2, The Hunger. We already talked about The Hunger.
Nah, I mean, I briefly talked about it, but I have no problem talking shit about it again, man.
All right. I always forget that's a Tony Scott movie.
Oh man, it is just ass, man. Paul loves it, dude. You know why, man? Because it's got these really bad, like Italian type edits. So all the scenes are all fucking weird and mangled together with bad fucking editing. And then the acting's all like, oh, it's just fucking terrible. And then they're smoking in every scene, and I don't like smoking. And I know Paul smokes. That's probably why he likes that movie too. It's just bad, man. It's just not good. Like David Bowie's, I just none of them.
Probably why he likes that movie too.
He loves it.
Yeah, he does. He does love that movie.
It's hard to get.
It's probably because he considers Susan Sarandon such a sex symbol.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. She's got like some pseudo lesbian things happening in that movie, but it's not
yeah.
really like. It's just weird, man.
I'll be honest with you. I don't hate it. I think visually it's pretty. It's got kind of like that MTV aesthetic to it. It's almost shot like a music video,
Yeah,
which
those edits,
which
man.
makes sense considering like Bowie's in it. I guess. To me, it's just so sad that like the sadness outweighs like it's so melancholy when you think about like
I would
like
call that
she
movie
constantly
avant-garde.
makes these people fall in love with them
Yeah,
with the false pretenses that they're gonna like live with her forever, and it's not like it prolongs their life, I guess. But like eventually they're gonna die, and when they die, it's like quick, and they just like start dissolving into like dust. And that's not the worst part. The worst part is they remain sentient even as they're dust. And she just puts them in boxes and keeps them in like in an attic. And, and they just sew, and it's just like boxes upon boxes upon boxes of all these people that are just like dust now. They can't do anything but sit there and think and be like, "Man, it sucks to be dust. Wish I wasn't. Wish I wasn't dust right now." Um, who said that? I'm sure that was. Oh my God, Bowie's aging. How can you hate that? Because it's so sad. Because it's fucking sad. Because they all end up as dust in a box, talking to other dust. That's no life I want. All right.
so we're still in 83. Are we in a Videodrome?
I think that's farther down, but I believe that's this year. What about Jaws 3?
Um, Hokey, fun hokey. I definitely when I watch it, I know I'm not watching a good movie, but I really appreciate Dennis Quaid in it
This was a full
and the mom from Child's Play.
switch to horror, was it not?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
The Keep. That could be that demands a remake.
I've seen it once when I was a kid.
Okay. That demands a remake. All right. Did you ever see Of Unknown Origin? This is I love this movie. It's
Oh
Peter
yeah,
Weller.
man.
It's
Oh yeah,
the
the
RoboCop
giant rat
guy.
in the wall.
Yeah, dude, I love it.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of before we moved here, uh, our house before this, we had a infestation of mice or something, and like I'm always looking for like ways to like enhance a movie. So I was like, hey, let's watch this. So as we're actually watching of Unknown Origin, we have like a rodent in the house, and my girlfriend went into the kitchen, and she screamed. Her the mouse was like sitting on the counter, and I was like, this wasn't one of my better ideas. All right, so there's that. Oh, dude, Psycho 2, it's so good.
I gotta watch it again, man. I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Look, Psycho is a classic of cinema, right?
Sure.
Like undeniably. So an 80's sequel to that, which isn't even based on the source material, which was a novel like Hitchcock did. Like it has no reason. It has no right to be as good as it is, and it's fantastic. It's really,
Dennis
really, really
Franz
good.
is in it, right?
Yep. Um, yes.
Yeah.
Trying to remember because there's a
Meg
part
Tilly.
three. Yeah, Meg Tilly's in it, and she's great. Yeah, it's just a great movie. You'd almost think that would be sacrilegious to like make a sequel to a Hitchcock movie, right?
Yeah.
Let alone it be any, but it's great. It's a really good movie. Sleepaway Camp.
Boy, that ending sure is shocking.
Yeah,
I mean, especially when you don't know about it when you're a little kid.
take away that ending. It's a C- movie for me.
Yeah, run in the mill. But
Um,
but you can't take away the ending.
you can't take it. Well, right. I mean that's the right. It
I mean
really
that kind of changes everything.
it's horrifying
Yeah.
because it comes out of the freaking blue.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's the pose and the look.
it's the pose, the face,
Yeah.
and like was it Felicia Rose? Felisa Rose, is the killer. But
Right.
like even till this day, like you see her at cons, like she contorts her face, even though that wasn't her real face in the movie. That's like a mask. That wasn't her actual face. That was like a cast that was done.
Huh.
Yeah, that's why the thing is, it is like, yeah,
Yeah, it's all
um,
stagnant.
it's all stagnant and doesn't move. It's like a
But you
Godzilla
hear like
mask.
growling,
Yeah, but like it doesn't move because it's a mask.
which makes it even fucking creepier.
Right. But she's so cool that like when she poses with you, she contorts her face in such a way that like it's like perfect. Like it looks like yeah, I mean it and she's like in her 50s now and she's still doing that. She'll still pose with you
Oh, that's
going
great.
or however it is, you know what I mean?
I think
So,
that's fucking awesome.
yeah. It was her okay. It was her from the neck up. It was a cameraman's dick. I don't think it was her face. Her head? That was a mask. No, I disagree. That's why her mouth didn't move.
But it was a mask of her. It was like a replica of her.
It was a replica, right?
Right.
But it was her from the neck up. To me, means that was like her actual head. I don't know. All right. Something wicked this way comes. Are we on?
Love
Are we on?
it. So good, man. God damn it. I want to see a rated R remake. Come on, give me a rated R remake.
Is it based from a book?
Yeah, from Ray Bradbury. By the way, another great anthology show.
Like I've only seen. I don't. I watched this a lot as a kid. I don't remember much about it.
Oh, it's good, man. It's got a spider scene, and it's fucking good, man.
Yeah.
It really is. It's
Twilight.
it's creepy. It's got some really scary shit. It's Disney, but like I said, man, I mean, it's got the story. I think is a little bit darker, and I think you could make like a real hard R like adult version.
Right. Twilight Zone, the movie we kind of already talked about. How about Videodrome?
Um, yeah, both those movies are good. Twilight Zone's great. Obviously, what happened to Vic Morrow and those kids is kind of fucked up, but
Yeah.
um, and then another Cronenberg classic, right? I mean,
Oh, totally. Takes
it's a
place in Pittsburgh.
it's a crazy fucking movie. I mean, just weird fucking shit, man.
It is. It's really weird.
From Rick Baker.
Oh, he did. I didn't know it was Rick Baker.
Yeah. He did the stuff for that movie. It's good, man. It's really good. I saw a special screening in the art department at some prestigious library on the campus of Notre Dame. Really enjoyed it.
Right.
Fucking movie. It's just great. And if you can, try to see it on a big screen.
That probably makes all the difference. All right. What do you want to do? You want to do another year?
Yeah, let's do it, Debbie Allen. Let's get to 85 at least.
Okay.
So we're in 84.
We're on 84. I keep skipping ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Chud.
Fun. It's a fun movie, right?
Yeah, I like Chud 2 better.
Do you?
I do. Bud the Chud.
Yeah. I like that theme song. By
All right.
the
So
Chud.
I'm reading now about because there was talking to Chad about that whole sleepaway camp scene. So I'm reading right now. While the obvious reveal contributes to the shock, what is really shocking is her contorted face, an effect that resulted from the fact that we are seeing another actor wearing a mask appliance and wig of Angela. So it was actually her face and a wig on like a guy's body because it's at that point she was very masculine looking at the very
Right.
end. So I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to confirm that. All right. So anyway, Chud. Yeah, and
Yeah.
Chud and Chud 2 are like two totally different movies.
Yeah. I like it. I like it though. It's fun.
Children of the Corn. A little overrated. It's not that really that good of a movie, but the concept is great.
That remake looks interesting.
Yeah. It's definitely on my radar.
Looks interesting. We got the remake for Salem's Lot coming too, man.
That'll be good.
I hope so. It better be. Or I'm gonna be fucking mad.
Who do they have as Barlow?
Oh man,
Someone
they're not
someone
they're not
big.
they're not telling yet.
I'm gonna look that up right now. Is it a movie? Yeah, it's a movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, it's freaking William Sadler.
Yeah, that's what I heard it might be, but I didn't know if that was like 100% confirmed.
It looks like it is. That's great casting, don't you think?
I do. They're gonna have to make him look like super fucking tall because he's only like 5'7".
Yeah.
But they can do that.
Um, Company of Wolves, Neil Jordan.
Oh yeah, that's 84, huh? Yeah,
I
that's
haven't I don't think
Nice,
I've seen
nice
this
little
one.
fantasy movie, right?
Like dark fantasy, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily horror, or would you consider it's
Oh
horror?
no, I think you could put it in there.
Ah, Paul, why do you keep doing this? Why do you keep putting Ghostbusters? Ghostbusters in the horror movie. I mean, it's not.
Is this 84?
Yeah, I love Ghostbusters.
No,
There's,
Ghostbusters is a comedy.
there's no way it's a horror movie.
No, it's not.
He always puts us on this list too. I've seen him do this before.
Everything else is
I
legit.
mean, like the effects are great. Like Slimer, the zombie guy, the zombie taxi driver guy, the what do you call it? The Gozer dogs or whatever.
No, it's definitely a comedy.
Yeah, but it's definitely, and I love Ghostbusters, but all right. Uh, Deadly Intruder. I feel like I should know that one. Firestarter. So much King. So much Stephen King. Like, we already had Children of the Corn.
Yeah.
Back to Firestarter. Um,
Gremlins.
yeah, Gremlins is on here.
That's a great Christmas movie.
It is. It's my favorite Christmas movie.
Yeah, definitely a horror movie. Definitely Christmas.
The Final Chapter.
It's part 4. Yeah.
Yeah. The
So we
Final
see him.
Chapter.
We
So this
see
is the
him.
one with Corey
Corey
Feldman, right?
Feldman. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we see him when the mask gets knocked off, and he's like almost looks like a zombie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Paul says, if you don't count Ghostbusters, Silent Night, Deadly Night takes the 5 spot. So what would you consider? So everything just moves up. So Gremlins would be number 1. Okay. Okay. Can accept that. Um, Gremlins. What a movie.
Yeah, man. So good. I hope they do part 3. I hope I get to work on it.
How have they never made like a, well, I always forget about Gremlins too because
2's good, man.
I hate it.
Why?
Because it's a parody. It's a parody of the first movie, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted an actual sequel.
Yeah.
I didn't want I didn't want to go make I didn't buy a ticket to go t- to see people make fun of Gremlins, which is basically what it's doing. It's a parody. It's a satire of the first movie. And then like Hulk Hogan's ripping the screen down, and there's that breaking the fourth wall. And like that's not. I didn't. I just wanted a straight. I just wanted like an actual sequel to the movie.
Well, and then they changed it because when it hit video, it wasn't the Hulk Hogan scene anymore. It was a John Wayne scene.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there's actually 2 different versions
I
of
mean,
that break in the movie.
I mean, they actually had Christopher Lee as the scientist doing the
Yeah.
DNA testing. Like that's awesome. And then it's just.
And then you have Slayer, Angel of Death play when Spike turns into a
Mhm,
spider.
mhm. Spike, right?
There's a lot to like on Gremlins too.
I can't even get through this one. I've
Oh
tried.
yeah, I don't like these movies.
Yeah. Night of the Comet. It's a good movie.
Oh yes, let's talk about Night of the Comet, please. What a great movie, man.
Yeah.
Split right down the middle between comedy and horror, and it's just,
Yeah. It's
it's
perfect.
written so fucking good, man.
Right.
The girl from The Last
I was
Starfighter's in
just
it.
gonna say that
Yeah.
I had such a crush on her.
Oh, she was amazing. And then her sister from Chopping Mall.
Oh, right, right.
It's a good fucking movie, man.
It really is. How about this one?
Oh yeah, dude. So listen, I
Look at that poster.
it's so amazing. I think Nightmare on Elm Street is so good that it changes the way that I feel about Wes Craven because I don't really particularly like Wes Craven movies except for a couple. But Nightmare on Elm Street is so good. I think it gives him a voice at the table of greatest horror directors of all time. That's how good I think that movie is. It is a singular fucking force of nature. It
Yeah.
is so good, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely his brainchild, completely his like you'll never see a horror movie made like that ever again.
I had a
It's
cousin that had to get psychological help from a psychiatrist because her mom and dad let her watch that movie, part one, and she started having fucking nightmares about Freddy Krueger coming after her.
it's that scary.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
that movie manifested like real
and
life nightmares in my cousin that
and
she needed fucking help with.
that's sad. Hope she's okay.
Oh, I don't
But
talk.
like, you know, this is it's clearly a movie made from the the entire concept is comes from the mind of one individual. It's not a committee filmmaking. You put this story in front of a studio today, they would butcher the shit out of it.
Yeah.
You know, just what an iconic
What a great
character. Yeah, it's just so
what a
great.
great intro as well. While he's making the glove.
Oh yeah, it's so great.
Oh man,
Always
it's so
forget about
good.
that.
Oh, so good, man.
Would you like to see a prequel at all?
If done right, I'm all for it. It's got to be written good.
I don't know, man. I'm hit or miss with that because it's like about child murder, and it's like, do I really want to watch that? But like, but his backstory is so rich,
Yeah,
and like with you know, the parents of Elm Street like rising up to take their revenge and everything. I don't know.
it might be a tough watch. You're not wrong.
Razorback,
Oh
greatest
yeah, I remember this movie.
greatest killer boar movie
Yeah.
of all
Well, there
time,
was that new one that came out a couple years back. Four.
which is good. I like that movie a lot.
Okay.
Saw Nightmare at the drive-in and blew my mind how great it was. Yep.
Yeah, man, I agree. That movie just so fucking good.
Paul's probably going nuts about some of these movies I'm scrolling past. Silent Madness. This is part of April goals this year. Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Part one.
Yep.
I remember the hype on this movie, man. I never saw it till later on, and it was just kind of like whatever. But there was so much negativity surrounding this movie when it came out. It was crazy.
Yeah, they were protests.
Yeah, that's fucking like,
I think they protested this movie more than they protested like The Exorcist
yeah.
because it was like they felt that like the sanctity of the Christmas holiday had been, you know, disturbed or whatever.
I mean, when I first saw this movie, I was expecting like a Halloween type film.
Uh-huh.
I definitely didn't get that.
Tell you what, like all the shit that this guy goes through in his life, like it's hard to like you say, all right, we're gonna watch a movie about a guy that dresses up like Santa Claus and kills people on Christmas. You're like, this is gonna like, why would anybody do that? Like like what all the circumstances that happened to this person. It's like the greatest backstory to a slasher ever. Like all the things that happen, like his parents are killed on Christmas Eve by a guy dressed in the Santa suit. He's got the scariest grandfather of all time. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That guy? He's like, Christmas Eve is the scariest night of the year. You should be scared. Yeah, like, and that happens. Then he goes to like some orphanage with some like crazy nun that like beats the shit out of him. So it's like it was like the perfect recipe to like turn out to be like a dude that dresses up like Santa and kills people. I don't know. It was it was earned. Uh, you want to talk about Toxie?
I mean, Trauma has its fans. I'm not one of them, but I understand the whole backstory behind those guys, and I think it's really awesome that they came out of nowhere and created something as iconic as the Toxic Avenger and some of the other characters they have with Trauma films.
Yeah.
So good for them. I'm just not a fan of that movie.
All right. We're at 85, huh?
Woo!
So this is this your
Yeah, my vote for greatest year of horror of all time.
all right. Oh man,
Yep.
right off the bat, I see some movies I want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
start naming them, man. Let's go.
I'm gonna skip. All right, just because it's on the list, real quick. I like this movie. Um,
Oh,
I
The
wouldn't.
Bride.
Yeah, I don't even really consider it a horror movie. I mean, it's not scary, but I like it. I like Sting as as Doctor Frankenstein. I like the story of Frankenstein and his little dwarf buddy. I like them. I like Jessica. I like Jennifer Beals.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like it, but Cat's Eye,
that's good.
dude. I love this movie. I love this movie.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of people.
The
I
Phil
like it a
Tippett
lot.
part. That's great.
I like it more than a lot of other people, but I think that this is a great anthology horror movie. I like how the first three segments. I think it's three. Yeah, one, two, three. Oh no. So the first two segments, there's no supernatural stuff going on. It's just humans being evil to each other,
Right.
and then the last segment, it's like a literal like monster. I
So
just like
good,
that. I just think it's great. Oh my god, Day of the fucking Dead.
dude.
I feel like we could do an entire episode on Day of the Dead.
Yeah. I
I know a lot
mean,
of these movies, but
it took gore to just a whole new level, man. I mean, there's shit in that movie I'd never seen before,
mm,
you know? And I just there was a time when that movie was my favorite of the Dead trilogy.
me too.
As good as Dawn is, Dawn was never my favorite. When Day of the Dead was my favorite when I was young, and then I switched over to Night. As much as I love Dawn, I mean, there's just something about Day, man. Day just has this downer vibe, but it works for me, man.
Yeah, it's like nihilistic. Um, like
Like you're seeing
there's
the
dread.
end.
There's this dread that
Yeah,
permeates throughout. Like this. You have this uneasy feeling the entire time watching it.
I mean, and even there's moments in Dawn of the Dead where you have like hope, but
Yeah.
you don't really get that in Day of the Dead.
No, it's so hopeless. Which is why I didn't like it for so long. I s- you know, it was really uh like the redheaded stepchild of the trilogy, but like anymore, dude. I think it's sometimes I like it. Sometimes I think it's my favorite one.
Yeah,
I have but then I have to be like, dude, but Night of the Living Dead, like that's where it all started. That's where horror started. Um,
That's why that trilogy, man. I just when you're talking about great trilogies of all time in any genre, you gotta think about that trilogy being up there.
yeah, and like I'm not by any stretch shitting on Dawn of the Dead here. Dawn of the Dead is great. It's just for whatever reason, like Day of the Dead to me, like it's so quotable. Like it's so perfectly cast. Joe Pilato
Yeah,
with Captain Rhodes, and um, the fact that they got uh, Lori Cardilli. I mean, that's Chili Billy Cardilli's daughter, and he was the famous Pittsburgh broadcaster who did Chiller Theater. He was the reporter in Night of the Living Dead
it's awesome.
that interviewed the sheriff. So like that almost reads as stunt casting, but Lori Cardilli is Sarah in this movie. It's Sarah, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, she's great. She's fantastic. The whole cast is really good.
I agree, man. I think the overacting works.
Steel. Yeah, I mean, it's freaking great. Like demons. Tell you what, I don't like a lot of Italian horror. I love the shit out of this movie. This
This
is
movie
like,
freaked me out as a kid.
dude, this is like the Italian Evil Dead 2,
Yeah,
and it's really good. It's real like at the end, at the end when he's riding like a motorcycle around and he's got a sword, and he's just cutting all these guys' heads off. I mean, it's fun. It's a fun movie.
it's got some crazy gore in it,
Yes.
and yeah, I loved it as a kid. It's hyper violent.
Yeah. New beginning. This is the fake Jason.
Oh, this is part five. This is one of
Yeah.
the bad ones.
Fuck this movie.
It's one of the bad ones.
Or Roy. Get the fuck out of here. All right. Moving on. Fright Night.
Woo! So I think Paul is kind of changing in his mind or evolving on his opinion on this movie. Maybe I could be wrong.
He hates it less,
Right.
but it's not a favorite movie for him, and I don't think it ever will be. Uh, he finds Evil Ed insufferable. I don't think he likes any of the main characters, but he also, I don't know, he takes it personal, like the Evil Dead stuff. He almost takes it as like that's an appraisal on horror fans in general. Um, and that's why he said he didn't like it. Like it was like, I think he also said he was into like Italian splatter at the time. So like this wasn't it's not extreme gore. It's great special effects though. Um, anyway, I never took it that far with like I just thought Evil Ed was a weirdo, and we were just supposed to perceive him as a weirdo. I didn't
Yeah.
see him as like a representation of horror fans.
No, I didn't think that either.
Um, if anything, I thought Charlie was.
Yeah.
He's the one making out with his girlfriend in the beginning, and she wants to get it on, but like he can't stop watching Dracula or whatever the hell it is, or looking out his window and seeing weird shit. Um, I don't know. It's a great movie. It's a great homage to like Hammer movies, like Dracula movies from the past. Um, Peter Vincent is an awesome character.
Yeah. There's a charm to the writing.
Yeah, it's Tom Holland, right? Yeah, Tom
Yeah.
Holland.
But there's just this charm to it, man. And my God, how fucking sexy is the dance scene? I mean, holy shit, man.
Yeah, dude. Even if it was with Marcy Darcy.
Yeah. But
Uh,
that music is pumping and they're
yeah.
dancing and
I mean, it's laughable now, but like you got to remember when it came out in the 80s, like that shit is the song was fire, you know. it was good. It's good little song, like the 80s song, and like
Yeah, that
you
scene
know,
comes up. I crank the stereo, man.
yeah, dude,
Sometimes
yeah, for sure,
I
for
grab
sure.
my wife and throw down some fucking moves. I might tear my meniscus again, but fuck it.
It's worth it. Uh, Paul says, I will say that Jerry Dandridge is the best screen vampire ever.
Yeah.
It's up there
Yeah.
for sure. But like all the little creature effects, like Evil Ed's transformation into the wolf.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a scene later where like Jerry Dandridge turns into like the Bat Monster.
Yeah.
Like it's like the effects are just off the chain in this movie.
Steve Johnson and Greg Canham did worked on the effects for that movie.
Yeah. Got any affinity for goalies?
I do, man. I think the opening scene's pretty crazy with the is it the heart coming out of the neck?
Yeah.
Um, cool little creatures, you know. Not as realistic as the Gremlins, but interesting. You know, I don't hate the movie. It's fun.
It's one of the better Gremlins ripoffs.
I mean, it's better than Munchies.
It's better than Munchies, not nearly as good as Critters.
Critters is better.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't have anything good to say. Howling to your sister.
Oh, so bad, man.
No, before we get to Life Force, Paul had said, here's his top for 85. Reanimator, favorite horror movie ever. You'll see him say that a lot whenever this movie gets brought up. Reanimator, favorite horror movie ever. And if uh, Big Trouble in Little Big Trouble in Little China ever gets brought up, he'll say, my favorite movie of all time. But Reanimator, favorite horror movie ever. Demons, Return of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, Life Force. Yeah,
Life Force
there's
Director's Cut. What's the Life Force Director's Cut,
yeah.
Paul?
I don't know what the difference is there.
Is it more titty?
How could there possibly
I, mean,
be?
I don't think there can be.
um,
I just don't know how the fuck my mom
Toby
was able to
Hooper,
watch that
man,
movie.
what a career! Like what different movies he's made in his life.
Yeah,
Texas Chainsaw, Poltergeist, Life Force, they're all so different.
yeah,
Invasion from Invaders from Mars.
yeah.
It's crazy. Uh, Elm Street 2.
Underrated movie. The last film of serious Freddy that we got.
Yeah. Yeah.
He becomes
Before
jokester Freddy in part 3.
he kind of turns into a caricature
Yeah.
after that. There's Reanimator, and Reanimator is great.
Oh yeah. I still want to know how they were able to completely steal the Psycho theme for the Reanimator theme.
Yeah, dude. It's like so obvious and blatant.
There's got to be a story behind that, and there's got to be a story about them paying somebody off to not get sued.
But Jeffrey Combs, awesome in this.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, it is a really it's such an awesome movie.
And it's a zombie film.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's definitely a zombie film.
Yep. Yep. It's just a zombie film. It's just as zombie as the next movie we're about to talk about, Return of the Living Dead.
Woo!
We don't have anything to say about this one. We'll just.
I mean, my personal favorite.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, I've said the story 1,000 times. You know, my father takes me opening weekend for my 9th birthday to see Return of the Living Dead. It blows my fucking mind. Fan for life.
Talk about this one for a little bit. I'll be right back.
Yeah. My personal favorite zombie film I think the best zombie film ever made is Night of the Living Dead. I think my favorite zombie film ever made is Return of the Living Dead. And it's got such a different vibe than the Romero films. It never takes itself too seriously. It kind of always knows where it's at. Um, I don't think it tries to do too much either. I think some of the effects work, some of them don't. But I think it's the writing. Dan O'Bannon, I mean, he's such an amazing writer. So the writing of that movie, I just carries the film along with the score, and then the actors are just great in those roles. They're just all the dialogue. It's fucking funny, and I don't know, man. I think that movie is probably a one of a kind as well. I mean, there was no talk of zombies eating brains before Return of the Living Dead. You know, Return of the Living Dead was the first film that zombies ate brains. Was the first film that zombies ran, at least on a level like that. I mean,
Right.
those zombies in Return of the Living Dead are fucking sprinting. You know,
Mhm.
we never really got that before. So
They
it
were
did a lot of
they were
first.
fast and sorry, you might have touched on, but it wasn't just that they were fast, they were intelligent.
Yeah,
Like, they were
yeah,
talking, they were thinking.
yeah.
That's what was really scary. Like, if you're cornered by some of Romero's zombies or some of even Fulci's zombies, um, you have a way out. Like, they're slow, they don't think at all. Like, you can think of several different ways that you could get out of that situation. Return of the Living Dead zombies, like, you're screwed.
Yeah,
Like, you're done. They're too fast, they're too smart, you know?
that movie just the imagery, the artwork that goes along with that movie that has been done over the years. It's such an iconic film, man. It's such a quotable film as well.
This is true. Paul says, me and him in Pittsburgh, we went to a cast panel with the entire cast, including Clue Gallagher,
Yeah,
um, with Night of the Living Dead, and they said that when they were filming the movie, no one knew it was comedic, so they were all playing it straight, and that was by um, direction. That's how they were.
that's great, man.
Yeah, and it was
See,
like
that's how
manipul.
good the writing
That's
is.
how
That's
good the writing is. Yeah, yeah,
Dan O'Bannon.
right.
Completely changed John Rousseau's story,
Hmm.
made it something unique, something different, something fresh that we had never seen before.
Yeah, John Russo lucked out twice with Night of the Living Dead and Return of the Living Dead. I mean, good ideas, but I mean, I think uh, if it wasn't for Romero and uh, Dan O'Bannon, who got basically, like you said, completely changed the story around.
Yeah. Now we've been robbed of a good sequel. I'd love to see a good sequel. Maybe
And
a
you
remake.
guys hate part two. I don't remember hating part two as much as you guys.
Man, I saw part two in the theater as well, and it's so different. It definitely goes more comedic, but
I want to have to watch that again soon.
man, I don't like the zombie sculpts. Kenny Myers did the effects, did the makeup effects, and some of the zombies are good, like the Michael Jackson zombie at the end that gets electrocuted and does all the dancing. It's kind of that zombie's good. It's funny, but there's too many moments like that where it just it you can never. Return of the Living Dead never takes itself too seriously, but there's moments of serious shit that goes down.
So that one,
Tonal
yeah,
tonal tonal changes that make you that kind of shock you and make you remember that you're watching a horror movie.
right.
That's not like that in part two. Part
Okay.
two never has those shocking moments that kind of reminds you you're supposed to be watching a horror movie. You're just straight fucking watching a comedy.
I'm trying to.
And I don't think it's that good.
too many repeat gags.
Yeah. And again, I don't like some of the zombie makeups. I don't know. It's just weird.
Dude, like, look at this. Look at these movies all came out in the same year. We got Reanimator, Return of the Living Dead, and I probably Silver Bullet,
Yeah, so talk
and
about Silver Bullet
and
act.
the stuff all came out in the same year. Like, we'll never have this again. Like that will never happen again. Anyway, Silver Bullet is a really one of a big favorite of mine. Talking about it doesn't have it's not made by Amblin Entertainment, but it's very much an Amblin uh, Spielberg-esque werewolf movie. I mean, in that that's very evident from like the start with the kind of melodramatic, pull at your heartstrings music that comes over the opening credits. Like it's a coming of age story,
Yeah,
which is like Amblin Entertainment in a nutshell. All told within this perfect confines of a Stephen King story. Um, the only thing missing from this movie is a decent werewolf. Everything else, I mean, it knocks everything else out of the park. Gary Busey is like Uncle Red is like fucking great. Um, the guy, his name escapes me, but the guy who plays the priest,
oh yeah.
scariest. Like I've said it before, but like the werewolf is scarier as a person than he is as an actual werewolf with the eye patch. And I don't know if you remember any of that, but like he just becomes he's so scary. But anyway, I think it's a really good movie, even despite its technical flaws. You still get that awesome church scene with Rob Bottin's handiwork with the werewolf effects.
It's so good, man. And you're
There's
right, that Amblin vibe, um, it's unique. You don't get that in other films,
right.
in other werewolf films. I'm taking you with me because my phone's about to die and I got to get a charger.
All good.
Pause it. Pause it.
But you know, had Rob Bottin been able to do the effects for the entire film, like I've said it before, but we'd be talking about this movie up there with like The Howling and American Werewolf.
Oh, you have to. I mean, that kid Amblin
I think,
Spielberg vibe, it just permeates the whole fucking movie.
and I think they wouldn't have shied away from showing the werewolf as much.
Yeah.
Like you don't in the movie you don't see him till the very end, and then it's very obvious as to why. He looks like Smokey the Bear. He's
I know he looks
embarrassing.
like a fucking bear, dude.
It's like,
That
that's the
guy's
best.
great. That actor. I mean, he's in People Under the Stairs and Twin Peaks. He's fucking great.
Yeah, it's okay. Dino De Laurentiis. I thought he had something to do with this. I read that he actually was the one that demanded that suit remain in the movie. They were complaining about it, like, well, we could do a better job. And he was like, no, 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 keep that in there.
See, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. I guess we're winding down here. The Stuff, I think, is a great movie.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like the satire alone I mean, of commercialism and stuff. It's so good. I love. Oh, hold on. If
Michael Moriarty.
Bottin did the whole thing, it would probably be the best werewolf movie ever.
Oh, Yeah,
Maybe I could see it. I mean, like I'm imagining though more scenes with the werewolf, not just the werewolf showing up at the end.
I think you would have been able to do more and show more.
Yeah, right. But yeah,
I
I
mean, they
kind of
shot that thing just like Spielberg shot Jaws. Fucking shark.
it's almost a family werewolf movie, almost,
Yeah,
except for the whole werewolf killing the lady because she was committing suicide part.
Corey Haim is so good in it,
Dude,
man.
he really is, dude. He's really good.
I think he did that
Uh,
movie right before he did Lucas.
yeah, yeah. I used to love Lucas as a kid too, but
Yeah.
apparently some shenanigans went on behind the scenes with that film.
Oh yeah.
You know, I don't know, but yeah, the stuff, man. Just it's
They're talking about
basically,
remaking that movie, right?
are they? I'd be okay with that.
Oh, I would too. I think the effects would be way better. A lot of
I
those
kind of
effects in
feel
that
like
movie don't hold up.
as much as I like Larry Cohen, I'm okay with them remaking anything he's done. Just because he always did everything on a shoestring budget. Like I'd be fine with like Q the Winged Serpent remake or an It's Alive remake. I'd be okay with that.
I can't handle those movies. Those
I,
fucking noises. Those noises
the
those babies
noises that the
make.
babies make.
It's too much, man. Have you
uh,
watched that movie since you had your son?
no, I watched him. I watched it right before he was born. Again, I like to like watch movies and set myself up for like kind of like watching Of Unknown Origin when we have a mouse in the house. I watched It's Alive as my son was about to be born. I like to set myself up for shit.
I used to watch
And
Final Destination 1 when I was in my early 20s, right before I get on planes.
yeah,
But when you're in your early 20s, man, you feel fucking invincible. So
yeah,
nothing matters.
right, right. Paul said Maniac Cop remake is happening. Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's Larry Cohen. He wrote it. He didn't direct it, but he wrote it. I think. Um,
that's kind of cool.
yeah. But anyway, this stuff, I don't know. I like blob movies just in general. It's basically the blob with like I mean the effects work is basically the blob.
Yeah,
But there's the satirical element to it that I think is pretty clever. And yeah, I think this is like one. I think this is like is this his best movie? It might be.
mm,
What else did he do?
I don't think so. I feel like we're missing one.
Yeah, we're probably missing. I'm probably missing something huge. Okay, Black Caesar. It's Alive. Q. Mania Cop. Body Snatchers. I might be right.
Hmm,
Yeah, nothing on there is really jumping out to me as being better than the stuff. So, Maniac Cop, maybe.
that's a good one. Maniac Cop 2 is pretty fun too.
Yeah, keep doing that.
So that's 85.
Yeah, I think that was it. I think we
Yeah.
were down to the end of 85.
So we'll pick back up next time with 86, right?
Yep,
Get
yep.
Parley in there too.
Yeah, hopefully Paul will join us for that one.
All right, dude.
So, well, anyway, this was fun, man.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this.
Hey man, I'm down to always talk 80s.
Yeah, for sure. But all right. Well, yeah, we'll pick back up. Maybe we'll do the sequel and reboot thing next, and then we'll pick up back up with part two. Um, maybe after that. I don't know.
Yeah,
And we'll see what we feel like doing.
sounds good, dude.
So, all right, man. Well, hey, good talking to you as
Yeah, you
always.
too.
And I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Bye, everybody.
All right, bye.